Telling you, good to see you, Chief. He is indeed.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and begin our work session. And thank you right off the bat. Thank you to the guys on staff who adjusted the dais up here. And hopefully we can see one another a little better and everything. Thanks for doing that. I didn't even notice right when I came in. It wasn't until after I sat down. Really appreciate that. All right, we have a review of the agenda. Are there any changes? We're good? Okay. All right, governing body, B1, Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for FY24. Ms. Long?
Sorry, that's loud. Good morning, Amanda Long, Interim Finance Director. I'm bringing our Certificate of Achievement for fiscal year 2024, Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And so our medallion for 2024 just arrived last week. We knew we received this late last year. The city received the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting, and that should say for fiscal year 24. This is the 5th consecutive year that the city has received this award. Background, Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada has awarded a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to the city of Rica for its annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2024. In order to be awarded the Certificate of Achievement, a government must publish an easily readable and efficiently organized annual comprehensive financial report. This report must satisfy both generally accepted accounting principles and applicable legal requirements. So this is valid for 1 year. We are currently working on our 2025 financials, and we hope to receive this award for that set of financials also.
That's good to hear. So. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
So I think we usually take a picture that we can share on social media if that's okay. I also want to thank not only mayor and council for supporting the finance department, but also all of the departments across the city, the directors. This is very much a team effort. The finance department couldn't do it alone. So this really kind of shows everyone's effort. So.
We're not done. Having to do with finance, which is critically important because y'all handle the people's money, and everyone else on staff, departments have to report to you all.
Okay, so my next item is that the Georgia Government of Finance Professionals Week. So March 16th through the 20th, GGFOA is wanting to recognize Finance Week across the state of Georgia. And the 2026 theme is The People Behind Public Trust, which emphasizes the integrity, stewardship, and dedication of these individuals in building public confidence in government. So there is a proclamation attached to this one, and I would just ask Mayor and Council if y'all would support this and see if you want to read that proclamation.
Will do. Thank you, ma'am. Whereas government finance professionals perform essential services that ensure the effective, transparent, and responsible management of public funds for the benefit of residents throughout the state of Georgia, and whereas government finance professionals serve their communities through their expertise in budgeting, accounting, treasury management, procurement, debt management, auditing, fiscal reporting, and long-range financial planning, thereby supporting the lawful and efficient operation of state, county, and municipal governments. And whereas these dedicated professionals uphold the high standards of ethics, integrity, accuracy, and accountability, fostering public trust and safeguarding the fiscal health of local government institutions, and whereas I'm going to get all these whereases out. Whereas the Georgia Government Finance Officers Association, known as GGFOA, represents finance professionals statewide and advances excellence in government financial management through education, training, and leadership development. And whereas GGFOA and its member jurisdictions have established and sponsored Government Finance Professionals Week to acknowledge and celebrate the contributions of public finance professionals and to increase awareness of the vital financial services they provide that benefits all Georgians. And whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize, honor, and express appreciation for this dedication, professionalism, and public service of government finance professionals whose expertise support the fiscal stability and long-term success of Georgia's local governments. Now, therefore, I, Leslie McPherson, Mayor of the City of Villa Rica, do hereby proclaim the third week of March as Government Finance Professionals Week in the City of Villa Rica, and encourage all residents, elected officials, and community organizations to join in recognizing and expressing appreciation for the dedicated government finance professionals across our community and the state of Georgia. In witness thereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of Villa Rica to be affixed this 10th day of March 2026. Y'all come on back up. There wasn't a way to do this all at once. It didn't seem like with.
Yeah, I won't break it.
Okay, somebody hold this. Thank you and congratulations on both of those and that recognition, which is important. All right, item 3, Veterans Park update and presentation of General Wilhelm and also John Hanneback.
Yes, Mayor,
Yes.
before they begin, as you know, that this is something that y'all dedicated some land, property up here beside the mill for them to be able to construct a Veterans Park. We meet internally with them and staff, and so they have a design that they wanted to just bring y'all up to date on and talk about it and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Ms. Holden. Yeah, we're back again. I think
Is the mic, let's make sure it's on, right?
I
There we go.
thought the
that's
green light was on. We had made a presentation to you previously.
But part of our agreement with the city and the council was that we would keep you informed of our progress and status. And that's the primary purpose of our being here today. But because there are two new council members, let me give you just a little background on the organization. I started this organization in 2018. We met at Trading Post for a breakfast. There were 6 of us. And we decided that we're all veterans and we were neighbors. But we decided this was a pretty good idea to get together and swap war stories and communicate with each other to what's going on. So we started meeting monthly. And pretty soon we grew to about 20 members. And we were meeting in the Mirror Lake HOA at that time. And we rapidly outgrew the HOA facilities. And we've started meeting in the Villa Rica Library. And we very much appreciate the services that the library is providing. We meet monthly, second Thursday of every month at 9 o'clock. And we now have a group of about 53 members. So we've grown considerably. And we were looking for projects to do. And we started gathering to gather flags, American flags, that were worn, and then we would turn them over to properly dispose of those. And we go down and visit veterans at the Trinket Davis facility. And we went to local funerals of local veterans at both Collins and Wynne Jones. But somebody said one day, why don't we consider a park? And I said, well, the city has considered veterans recognition, but that was a community group that got together, and the city proposed a downtown improvement, which includes a veterans walk, but nothing has happened to that. So we decided, okay, we'll take it on ourselves, and we will build a memorial to all veterans. And we wanted one here in Villa Rica. And so we appealed to the city and the council, and as Janice says, Jennifer says, we were able to get a lease from the city for a little property that's down where the current Villa Rica, We Are Villa Rica statue or whatever it is exists. It's not a lot of land, but because of that, we've decided we have to go up rather than out. So that's where we are. And we retained a service down in Columbus, Georgia, that has done some very effective design for us. And I think you have a copy of that in front of you. I hope that there would also be projection, but apparently we didn't get that in on time. But we do have some copies that we will also give out to the audience as far as they go. We are pretty much convinced, and this is a design that we want. And Charles will go over the details of that with you. But we're in the throes of trying to fundraise. This is not going to be an inexpensive project. And we are soliciting only private donations from corporations and the community. So anybody that is interested in contributing to us, all the information is on this sheet. We have a post office box number. We have a website, and we are also on Facebook. And all of that information is on this sheet. So we welcome any and all contributions. But let me turn it over to Charlie Wilhelm to tell you the details of what our plans are. Charlie?
And while he's coming up, we can probably put this on the newsletter right where it lists your meetings anyway, and send it out so people can see it.
It is on there.
Oh, this is already on there?
Yeah.
Oh, well, good. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'll make this fairly brief. One of the really difficult and most important things you can do when you take on a project like this is to get it right up front. Up front is the design. You have to have an idea of what you are going to build and how you're going to build it and if you can afford to build it. So we considered all of those things. As John mentioned, there are fundamentally two ways you go with these kinds of things, either vertical or horizontal. The town gave us primetime real estate. Big is not always good. We've got roughly 2,500 square feet, which is just about right, about the size of a good size lot in Villa Rica. As John mentioned, we had two criteria, visibility and accessibility. We wanted to create not just a memorial and a monument, but also a landmark. What is the landmark that identifies downtown Villa Rica? Driving through, I've noticed, and the best I can come up with is the railroad gantry with the warning signals on it. That ain't a good way to go for a landmark. The design that we have come up with will stand roughly 27 feet high at its highest point. It will be absolutely visible 24 hours a day because the monument will be lighted. Hence, we can fly the flag of our country 24 hours a day while you drive down Veterans Memorial Highway past the Veterans Memorial, and it will be unmistakable. I think that's going to do a lot for downtown. If it does a lot for downtown, it does a lot for the rest of the town to include our property values. The prettier we are, the better we are. We went to a world-class outfit for help. 2WR is a graphic design organization in Columbus, Georgia. Why did we go to Columbus? Simple answer, Fort Benning. 2WR did most of the heavy lifting and design work for both the Infantry Museum and that very, very impressive portal entry into the base itself. If you've seen it, those are those four massive columns that rise 55 feet in the air and lets the whole world know that you're going past Fort Benning, Georgia. As of right now, 2WR has done that pro bono, and I sure hope it stays that way. I'm in touch with them on about a daily basis. I haven't received an invoice, and I hope I don't get one. But it's something that we can't afford because you cannot afford to start with a bad plan. So that's pretty much where we are right now. Affordability is the long pole in the tent. We are pursuing both institutional and individual support for this. We have a sponsorship program, which is the bedrock of our fundraising effort, again, directed at both corporate entities and, very importantly, to the citizens of Villa Rica. The one thing we don't want is a veterans memorial which is solely created and funded by veterans. We want a veterans memorial that's created and funded by Villa Rica. That's the purpose of all of this. So in a nutshell, that's where we are. We hope that members of the council and the mayor find the rendering that we just delivered agreeable. There's a very large poster size replication of that. Unfortunately, it's in Columbus, Georgia, and we can't see it from here. So I'll retrieve that and we'll deliver that probably to Ms. Hallman and to the city manager's office. So that's about it on design. We think we've got it right. We hope you agree.
It's beautiful.
Any questions? Thank you. Are there any questions? Council?
Questions from council? Councilman Conte.
Good morning. What is the goal, the amount that you guys are trying to reach?
That's a good question. It's, as I say, it's not inexpensive. We envision that this may be as much as $700,000. The monument itself will cost over $100,000. And we didn't mention, but atop the monument will be a landing eagle, which we feel represents the veterans of America in a most substantial way. That will be a separate entity, but the monument itself, it's pretty expensive. Let me also say, though, we've had great support from the city staff. David Mecklin was very instrumental in helping us to get clearance from the state of Georgia. We are a 501c3 and a 509a2 organization, and we also have clearance from the IRS as a tax-free organization. And again, following up on your question, we've looked at getting donations, grants, if you will, from corporations and their foundations. We've about given up on that. Foundations don't like to provide money for memorials or parks, and they so state that in their information. Also, many of them say, don't submit a grant request to us unless we have sent you a request to send us a grant. So we've pretty much given up on corporation grants and foundations. But we have a lot of money to raise. We've got a good start, but we need more. So
And when is the goal to have it completed?
we would like to have some form of dedication, possibly as early as July 4 of 2026. So this July, we would like to have some kind of dedication, however the completion exists. The monument will be the first thing to go up, and we may have to do this in phases, depending upon our money and income. But we would like to have something visible by the 4th of July,
Okay, thank you.
hopefully.
Councilman Barr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for your presentation. I think it was a wonderful presentation, and thank you for your service as well. Just to piggyback off of Councilwoman Conte's question, so you're raising $700,000, and I'm assuming it's going to be in the construction of the monument, not the land, or I think I understand that the land has been donated by the city, so the $700,000 will erect the memorial. Is that correct?
Yes, but the land was not given to us. The land is under a 20-year lease. So in theory, the city could take this land back at any time. We don't think that's going to happen. The veterans of this country will be all over you if that happens. But yes, the funds are for the memorial itself. So.
Okay.
Our
and-
library sits on land like that, leased from the hospital as well, and there's not the expectation that anybody's going to come in and take it away or take the library, so understood.
So in addition, I'm sorry, you want to ask something?
Oh, you want me to do
Yeah.
that? Just to foot, both very good questions, and it is a lot of money, but we will face this program. And there are really two parts. One is site preparation. The land has to be leveled. There has to be a retaining wall put around the entire area to embrace the fill that goes in. And then we have to lay the pad for the monument itself. By my back of the envelope computation, the monument will weigh 16 tons. That's all Georgia granite from Elberton. We didn't want it from any place else, and certainly not from China. So that's been one of our points. We've gotten some really great support from the town. Our maintenance folks are prepared to do some of the modifications that are necessary to some of the parking areas here to free the full component of the land contribution so that we can turn to. Kip Berry, who's sitting over here, and Larry Boggs have volunteered to really kind of lead that charge. That's their business. They're construction experts. So they're going to do a lot of that work for us, and that will really constrain the cost. But it isn't cheap. A whole lot of dump trucks full of dirt are going to have to come in. The construction of the retaining wall is not cheap. For safety purposes, we need to put a fence around, and we're not going to put a chain link fence. It'll be an appropriate cast iron ornamental fence, which will really enhance the appearance of the downtown. So the cost of the monument itself and the cost of the site preparation are roughly equivalent. You know, and of course, you obviously can't build a house until you grade it. Absolutely. And so that's where we are. I would like to, Bill Campbell's contribution. Yeah, sure. Again, you got to have a plan, and the plan has to be technically competent. Bill Campbell, pro bono, has done a very, very detailed engineering rendering of what we have to do to the land, to include all of the pilasters that we'll have to put up around to anchor fences to. This is an extensive job and can be quite costly. And so I would like to just recognize Bill Campbell's stepping forward and removing a significant cost factor from site preparation, and also benchmark Larry Boggs and Kip for really providing us the technical expertise we need. Once again, get it right. And so that's what we're all about.
Absolutely. It sounds like you have a great team, familiar with the work of your team. So in addition, before you sit down, I do have a follow-up question. So once the $700,000 is actually invested into the project, I'm assuming it's going to erect and build the monument. Have there been any discussion who will maintain it from there? How will it be maintained ongoing?
Well, our understanding, and I'm looking at Ms. Hallman here seated to my right, and I'm saying, Jennifer, you got it? Jennifer's got it. Yeah, yes.
Like a city
we built
park,
it, but it
right?
makes great sense. There'll be landscaping involved. There will be vegetation planted appropriately, which will further beautify the site. And the city is the right agency to do that. And Jennifer and her folks have said, yeah, we'll take care of that.
Absolutely. And is this a public-private partnership, or is that some formal agreement that we have between the association as well as the city?
Sorry. We, as part of the lease agreement, I believe we included some of the maintenance terms. And again, like they said, they're in ongoing conversations. So just to explain the lease agreement, it's the givings clause. The city can't give property away, but we have leased it for a nominal amount to the Veterans Association. And that is renewable every 20 years, because I don't anticipate that we're going to see a $700,000 beautiful monument installed that we're going to turn around and say, nah, we've seen enough of that. So, but
Is there, Attorney Smith, is there any conflict of interest if I was to provide them resources for financing? Not from me personally. I'm just saying there's resources to get this done.
no, I
Okay.
don't believe so.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions from council? Yes, Councilman Wormuth?
I don't really have a question. I don't know, is this website shared, well, I guess it is a question. Is this website shared on the city's page or website?
Not yet, and I believe we could do that with it being a nonprofit. Okay, yes, and we can.
Okay, because I think that if people are able, because I know it's not in the agenda packet today, but if people are able to see how incredible this is being proposed, I think that people will be much more willing to help any way that they possibly can, because this is absolutely incredible. Anyone who's watching, if you want to go look, it's vrveterans.org. But this is phenomenal.
And we'll promote it on the website as well as our social media pages as well. And the newsletter that you had mentioned, Mayor, regarding that the library sends out every 2 weeks, we'll make sure that it continues to be in there.
That'll be a constant reminder. That's
Yes.
such an advantage, because that'll be coming up every 2 weeks, is it? We're doing that one every 2 weeks. And so people will constantly be reminded about it, be able to see this and where they need to access. And I'll just say, like anything that a community really buys into and pulls together, I did not know who all was involved until y'all mentioned, and pro bono and benchmark and everything else. Mr. Campbell, that's the way it's going to get done. And then citizens, if everybody gives something, and some people can give more, we can do it. And appreciate the work y'all have done on this, trying to make it doable and get the details, and people will be inspired when they have something visual. You could say, I'm going to build a house, but when you don't have anything to look at, it's hard to be inspired. This is inspirational. Thank you for what y'all have done. I know we've talked about this for years. Veterans Walk on the streetscape, what we were going to do, and it's going to happen now.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Appreciate it. We will continue to keep you informed.
Thank you, General Wilhelm, and thank you, John Hanneback. All right, item 4, appointment of CVB board member or members. Ms. Cash, good morning.
Good morning. I'm Colin Cash. I am your tourism manager, and we have 3 vacancies on our board of directors, and I have their bios here for you. Do I need to read those out, or everyone just read them themselves?
My computer's buffering.
For me, I think if you could just say the names and maybe a brief summary.
Sure.
I don't think it's necessary to read
Gotcha.
the full bio, but
Yeah.
just for the public, if names and a bit about them.
Someone a little more detailed than others as well. So we have Cassia Polk. She has been in finance for years. She's been with Regions Bank here in Villa Rica as the branch manager for 4 years. And she has been very involved in community organizations, Chamber of Commerce, and things like that. Then we have Shasha Jackson. She is the current general manager of our Holiday Inn Express. She has been there for almost 2 years now, which is the longest since I've started this position that we have kept a general manager there. And she has previously had hospitality experience. She worked in Cobb County, so she worked with the CVB in Cobb County and has good tourism experience. And then the other is Richard Argo. He is retired and volunteers at the Gold Museum, but he has a degree in journalism from the University of West Georgia, and he has some interesting hobbies that have put him into the film world because he grows bamboo and he collects vintage automobiles, and both of those have been used in filming, I know, in Douglasville. So those are the 3 candidates that we would like to present for you to appoint.
Questions from council?
Good morning.
Morning.
How many do we have right now?
The board is 7 members. We currently have 3, so this will be 3 more. We're still looking for 1 more member.
Okay. And how long do they serve?
They originally start with a 2-year term, but the way the bylaws are, as they choose, it automatically renews until they resign. So that's why I have 3 coming up at one time. For various reasons, they all resigned over the last 6 months. Not for any bad reasons, but for work reasons or health reasons.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Momtahan?
So I assume that since you have 4 vacancies and only 3 applications, that there are no other persons that applied for these vacancies.
No, sir, we don't take applications like that because we're looking for people that have very specific backgrounds, and it's really hard. We've asked what our last holdout, I say, the other spot that we're wanting is a restaurant,
Okay.
and we're working on finding someone from the restaurant industry. Most of them that are interested, they can't commit to our meetings, but one of the new board members has a connection with someone whose restaurant is only open in the evenings, and we hope to be bringing that person forward for appointment shortly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Yes, Councilman Barr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, Ms. Cash, do I understand that you do not post the vacancies? You go and you identify potential candidates? Is that how?
Yes, sir. This,
Process work?
the Convention and Visitors Bureau is a 501c6 board, and so within their bylaws, that's how it was set up, that the board selects candidates from the hospitality and tourism marketing, sort of that world, and that the board itself makes those selections and then brings them to the council for official appointment.
Okay, is that the same for identification, though? If there's a resident that actually has that background experience in the community but didn't know about the opportunity and they could serve, does that discount them from being appointed or selected by the board?
For the most part, people that have that sort of background kind of, I don't want to say just know, but they know that there is a tourism program here.
Agreed.
I mean, we have been approached by, like Mr. Argo, because he volunteered at the museum and he kind of knew about it. So it doesn't mean that we can't. Just traditionally, this is the way it has been done because we wanted to kind of keep the field narrow to choose from. But if someone came to us or anyone here knew someone, I think it would be great to take a look at them.
Absolutely. And my question is nothing that you did anything wrong. It's just for a matter of clarification and clarity to the community. You know, these situations, they come and they're great and you have great candidates here. But then there may always be someone saying, hey, I didn't know.
Right.
And I had that experience. And then, you know, those are things that as council people, members that we have to deal with, you know, trying to explain that. So thank you for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Warmoth.
Well, and let me just add to that clarity. Back many years ago when I wanted to first become involved with the city of Villa Rica, I reached out to people that I knew who had involvement with the city on opportunities, ways for me to become involved. And I found the opportunity of joining the Main Street Board. And so that's what I did. So I took the initiative of what can I do to get involved. So I think it's important that citizens understand the importance of taking that initiative in order to find volunteer opportunities. Just wanted to add that in there.
Any other questions? Yes, Councilman Conte.
So, and I'm just trying to get clarity. We're filling pretty much 6 out of the 7 slots for vacancy for this board, correct?
No, ma'am. We filling 3 out of 7.
3 out of 7, thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Mhm.
And then we have one that's still vacant.
Yes, ma'am.
So the one that will eventually be, I guess, selected by yourself and your board will be presented to us. Do we get a heads up on that, like before the work session? Like how quickly, like when you get that person that you guys want to present to us to vote on, how quickly do we get that information? Like what's the time frame?
Our board meets once a month. So once our board meets, then I get it on the agenda the next round.
Okay. And then how diverse is the directors? Because Villa Rica is very diverse. So
Yes.
I'm trying to get an understanding of who's all on
Sure.
this board.
I got you. Do you mean demographically or?
All of it.
Sure. Okay. So the 3 members that we already have, Tracy Ivy, who is our Parks and Rec director, because sports tourism is very important. And then we have Frank Pritchett, who is a retired, worked for the University of West Georgia, retired alumni, but he was on the original tourism board, and he is white. And then we have Camellia. What's Camelia's last name? My mind just went blank. Camellia Chandler. Yes. And she used to work for the Chamber of Commerce, and she's a marketing professional working at one of the businesses here, and she is white. Our Cassia in the banking profession, she is African American. Shasha, who is with the hotel, she is African American. And then Richard, who is our retired bamboo farmer, he is white.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, anyone opposed to making this consent item number 1? All right, we'll go ahead and do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad y'all are getting those filled. Yeah. Item 5, Joint Commission Ordinance Update. Ms. Smith?
Oh, you're fine. Yes, good morning, Council. The Joint Commission Ordinance Update had a little bit of misleading language just in a couple of places, so we have updated that. I think you can see. It was basically, I can't recall, there you go, thanks. It was a community development director was in charge of these items, and we have transitioned that to city manager, as it's more appropriate for the city manager to handle those items in particular, or city manager and his or her designee. And that's really it.
Any questions from council about the language? Councilman Momtahan?
If my recollection is correct, however, aren't the council's appointees to the Joint Commission presently the city manager and deputy city manager?
It was, originally.
Yes, I believe so.
So-
That's what that says. The city manager or his or her designee shall serve as staff to the joint committee.
Correct, but the actual membership of the committee itself by the council is also the city manager
Well,
and the deputy
the
city
city
manager.
manager can deign for someone else to fill that position.
Well, that was ultimately my question, is that
Yeah.
to create a conflict if the member is also the staff liaison?
It's really for you guys to determine. If you don't like it, we can transition it. It just didn't really fall within the purview of the community development director. So we were trying to fill that gap.
Yeah, sure, I totally see that. I just thought you kind of have one person serving, wearing two hats in that situation, so.
If there's another party that you guys feel is more appropriate, this was a staff suggestion.
Okay.
So, and the other change is just where we're going to store the records, and it does make more sense for records to be kept at City Hall because that is where we keep those
Sure.
records anyway. So that was just a
Sure,
correction.
that's fine.
I think are you finished, Councilman?
Yes, thank you.
From the beginning, the way it was set up is I think they were, from the time the agreement was negotiated that also involves the school board, county commission and everything, was that it was going to be handled by staff, and we were like kind of like the host of that meeting. And I don't think we saw where it would fit. This was from management, the way it was told, is that's who was going to be handling the details on it, even though all of the groups involved, the other government entities, all had, a say and input. That's the way it was explained to us. It's probably somewhere in the notes when it was first developed because of the tax allocation district.
Well, I mean, I specifically remember a vote where we made that appointment. I don't remember if that was a yearly appointment or not, but I would have to go back.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't know that there was any type of deadline on it. I don't recall that there was. It's been a little
I'll
while,
have to go back and
but
look at that.
we could find out.
Yeah, if you would like for us to look into that prior to the next meeting, we can do that.
Thank you. Yes, please. The last question I asked? was that my recollection was that the member appointees to the Joint Commission by the council were the city manager, the deputy city manager, and that we actually had a vote, kind of pertaining to what Mayor McPherson raised. We actually had a vote appointing them, and there was an agenda item. I don't recall whether they're term limited, if something like one of the other authorities.
So that's the way.
It's a 2-year term. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if that was, and for some reason, my recollection was it was around like early 2024, so then that means that term would have to been renewed at some point. Okay. Yeah.
I'm
so-
assuming, I really can't see it well from here, but I'm assuming that's probably for all the members, like the school board, will send somebody to represent them. If it's not the superintendent, they have someone else on there. I believe originally the county did not have one of their elected officials. They just had a representative, last I knew. So now we know it's a 2-year, so we'll have to consider that it either has to be automatically renewed or it's something we have to do. We'll have to discuss that. Any other questions from council? Is there? And how often? Just some of the engineers have a really good time coming through, like really laying on it. It's almost like, here you go. They're not all quite as bad. Let's see. Okay, so anyone opposed to making this consent item number 2?
I am.
Yeah, I think we have a couple of questions that we're going to need to clarify for you guys.
Okay, so yeah, we could have time to get that straightened out and then bring it back on Tuesday?
Yes,
Next
thank you.
Tuesday? Okay. So not
Mayor-
specifically with the wording here, but we might want to clarify some things.
Right. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm looking at it right now. Actually, if you go back and look at the January 2024 agenda, we reappointed 2 representatives to the Joint Review Commission. The staff recommended that the reappointment of the city manager and deputy city manager as representatives of the city to the Joint Review Committee for calendar year 2024. Of course, I don't have the whole agenda packet because I'm just looking on the city's website. So, yeah, I would like to look into that and see if that presents an issue to have both the city manager be the staff liaison, but also be a member of the board.
Well, I don't think that the city manager is currently serving as staff liaison. I believe it's Leanne who has been appointed by the city manager to fill that position
As the staff liaison or as the
Yes.
member of the board, though?
as a staff liaison. City manager is there, deputy city manager is there, and then Leanne attends as our staff liaison currently.
Okay.
Which is how that reads, but if you want it to be clarified that it will be the city manager's designee rather than the city manager then I think that would solve your
Okay.
issue. That sounds
Yeah.
ugly. I don't mean it
I-
to sound that way. Please
Sure.
don't take that.
My concern.
Yes, thank you.
That's fine. Yeah, we can just take a look at it, and
Okay.
then we'll figure something out for Tuesday. Thank you.
All right. Item 6, Sumter Local Government Consulting, Executive Search Service for City Manager.
Sorry, I keep turning it off and turning it on. Yes, so we met with Sumter in January regarding the potential search for a city manager. I think this has just been held over due to, the discussion around the changes to the charter. So it's sort of in the council's court whether we're ready to move forward or not.
Councilman?
Well, Ms. Smith
Montahan.
thank you, Mayor. Ms. Smith, has the situation changed whatsoever? The underlying situation that was during discussion in February changed whatsoever?
No, and we still have not been able to isolate any language that we think would meet everyone's concerns. If there are some suggestions from council or the mayor that would would bring sort of unity to this item, then we're ready to draft at your leisure.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm
Madam Mayor, I have
sorry,
a question.
Councilman Barr.
Attorney Smith, I have a question. Where do we stand currently with the amendment? Are we on the original or are we on the amended?
We have made no changes to it from what you have last seen, which is where it was just reverted to what it was prior to 2024. That is what has been signed by council and was tentatively forwarded to the legislators, but it is just in a holding pattern.
So when you say a holding pattern, does that mean that it can't be enacted on? It's not legal? Is
Right. Our
So
last
they may-
conversation from the legislators was that they wanted agreement from council and mayor, and the mayor has expressed that she does not agree with that phrasing. So they're not going to approve it without something that all five of you plus the mayor agrees on.
Okay. Do you have the phrasing by the mayor? I know she's here. I don't want to talk like she's not here, but I'm speaking directly to you.
Right. No, we haven't received anything that is exactly what she wants it to say. I do believe there was open discussion at one point where she wanted it to say potentially, and I don't want to put words in your mouth.
It was all pretty much ideas and potentially, but the biggest thing was not to have the mayor excluded from any authority other than giving an opinion, was not to have the mayor excluded.
Right.
In the process of actually having some legitimate say that accounted for if a manager is hired or fired.
And I think we discussed altering the phrasing so that it said mayor and council, even though Attorney Mecklen's opinion is that where it says city council in the charter, it generally refers to mayor and council. But I don't know that that was enough or sufficient, and I don't know that it satisfies everyone. So it was not agreed on at the time.
And I guess pursuant to the mayor's comment, to have her, I guess, her language put in there. Mayor, did you provide a specific language that you would like to have in there?
It really had to do with, I wanted the clarification of mayor, not just mayor and council, because while the charter does have sections that when it says council, it's talking about us all corporately, it has other sections where it mentions council, and we're separated between the powers of the council, the powers of the mayor. I had put forth some ideas. Most of them were not entertained at all. In fact, even the wording to add mayor and council wasn't accepted. The resolution stayed with just the word, the original language, not the clarification. But yes, one moment. And then, but I am more than open to speaking to anyone individually on. I know we can't do it all together except when it's like this, so that there's we're not having a meeting behind the scenes. But I'd be more than glad to talk to any council people individually that want to reach out and meet. Yes,
So just I'm sorry. Just one quick
finished.
follow-up. So if we change the language to mayor and council, would that satisfy your
The
concern?
concern is that had to do with the hiring. It had nothing to say at all about the dismissal of a city manager. And that's part of the reason the state got involved, is all that they saw going on at that particular time with the city manager situation and the newly elected mayor left the mayor out of having any part of helping dismiss that person. It was strictly council. And so it really needs to be on both ends, whereas at this point, there's no language as far as dismissal that involves the mayor.
Okay, so if I'm understanding, so I'm hearing that your concern is to be able to be included in the decision to dismiss a city manager if that was to be a concern.
On both ends, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And as well as on the front end as well to be included in that process.
Correct,
Okay.
yes, sir.
So wouldn't, I guess, city, council and mayor suffice with that? Because, I mean, that sounds like it's a happy medium for all of us.
I think it has to clarify what that power is, and sometimes, I did check with a number of cities, both around us and beyond us, to try to get an idea of the variety of ways that they do it in their charter, just ideas and everything, and it just depends on the charter and what they have set up or changed over the years. I think it's important for to say what that authority is. In other words, okay, they're included, well, what does that mean? Verbally, they can verbally say something, because that's what the old language, it didn't really say that exactly, but that's what it consisted of, pretty much an opinion.
Thank you, Mayor.
Questions or comments from council? Yes, Councilman Warmoth.
I mean, I'm a little bothered by you saying that the council wouldn't even agree to add one simple word of mayor and council, because as Councilman Barr just said, and I asked the specific question before we decided to which resolution to adopt. I even asked you then if mayor and council, that verbiage would be sufficient to address your concerns. And you told me no then, which is why the council decided on which resolution to adopt and not include the change of the verbiage of mayor and council. So that's misinformation right there, because you were asked, hang on, you were asked then, and you are asked now, if adding the language of mayor and council would be sufficient to meet your needs or your concerns. And you're continuing to go in circles with your words. You have not given us any clear distinction of what it is that you want. That's where the frustration with council is coming from with this. This is where the frustrations with citizens is coming from with this, because you are not being clear in what you're asking. And furthermore, I asked you a very specific question at the last council meeting, where now you're sitting here saying that you want to have a say in the hiring and the firing process. I asked you at the last meeting specifically, and you never answered my question. I asked you specifically, with all of the allegations that you continue to make about the former mayor, if you would be in agreement to allow that same mayor who you make these allegations that they broke the law, that if you would allow that mayor to have a vote in the process of hiring and firing of the city manager. You never answered that question. And that's a yes or no answer.
Yes, because I think
You would allow him a vote, even though he broke the law.
any
According
council
to you,
person,
should I say.
any council person or mayor going forward would have the same situation. They'd have a vote, whoever that might be. We can't decide that in the future, well, what if we have a corrupt council person or we have a corrupt mayor or something? That's for the voters to decide. And of course, there are ethics ordinances, things at the state level. People can be removed from office depending on what it involves. Yes, I believe all those positions should have a say.
That's interesting. That's very interesting that you are putting out e-blast and telling citizens about all of the corruption that this former mayor supposedly did, but you would allow them to have a vote, or you would want them to have a vote. And
What if we
again,
had a
and
council
again,
person in the past that had a
And if
problem?
you were sitting in my seat, you would be in agreement to give that specific mayor a vote. That's interesting to me.
It's not about the specific person, it's about the position. That's why it's not
But
about
if you,
me.
but if you
It's about
wanted,
whoever
but if you
sits
wanted to be in
this.
a position of having a vote, you should have stayed right here where I'm at. And I'm not going to continue to go back and forth here because then I'm accused by people that are drummed up to call me abrasive and argumentative, and that's not at all what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring to light what is actually going on here. You mentioned in your e-blast about how civil the council was while you were here with the mayor and how y'all would go over to Los Cowboys afterwards. You expect things to be civil when you're putting out a 6-page e-blast full of a bunch of crap? I don't understand how you expect things to ever be civil and move forward. This is the same thing. When I first came into this position, I said with the council that they were acting like a bunch of children. That's exactly what I said. I said, you guys are acting like nothing more than my children, and I feel like I'm being a parent here. And this, I see what the former council was going through, because what you are doing, this is unacceptable. You're making allegations of illegal activity by the former mayor and the former city manager.
These are
And
not new.
I am not done talking. You've made allegations and you've yet to provide proof. There is no proof out there of these allegations. I could sit here and say that I believe you're breaking the law. I believe that you're breaking the law by excluding me. You're breaking my First Amendment right here by excluding me from this one particular email, because you include me in all of your other e-blasts, but this particular email that you knew would upset me and the rest of the council, you excluded me from. And I think that the public has every right to know that. I am fed up. I am done. You are unwilling to work with your council. You have always been unwilling to work with your council. I told you at the last meeting that this was your opportunity to build the consensus with your council, and instead of doing so, this is what you put out there, a 6, 7, 8-page email.
This is the type of thing that will make it so hard for us to even attract a city.
And it
manager.
is you that
Okay.
did this, Leslie.
I'd like an
This is
opportunity.
not, I wasn't done
listened.
talking, but you continued to talk.
Okay, if we're going to use this to air our dirty laundry instead of
Dirty
trying to work
laundry,
together.
you aired dirty laundry in your e-blast, Leslie.
No, listen, what you're talking
You
about.
threw Matthew Monahan's name and Anna McCoy's directly in this e-blast, Leslie.
As a vote, I do not
It-
name call. I do not degrade people.
You don't.
If
you
you
don't.
tell how
You
somebody
don't. You
voted,
also
now
talk,
wait.
You also talk about citizens who don't have a house or don't live in the community who come up and make public comments. Well, they are just as much invested in the city of Villa Rica as anybody else because they have property in the city limits, whether they live here or not. If I moved out of the city limits tomorrow, I still have a business in Villa Rica, so therefore I am still invested in the city. You are diminishing them every single time they come up here. Whether I agree with them or not is not the point. They have the right to come up in public comment and speak because they are an invested citizen. Whether they actually live in the city limits or not, they are an invested citizen of Villa Rica.
That's why I voted when we did public comment. There are particular cities that do not allow citizens to speak if they're not a citizen resident or own a business in the city.
But they own property.
None of us felt, well, then that's right, they have a vested interest, and so do, although it's still important to know whether I still believe it's important to know whether somebody is a citizen of a city. I do not believe that we should exclude people from speaking. That's why I voted that way. But there's people that live on the edges that don't own a business in here and don't own property, but we are their main city. But I think it's still important for each one of us to know if that is specifically one of our constituents in Ward 1, 2, 3, 4,
So unless
5.
they vote, then their opinion doesn't matter.
I didn't, that's.
No, that's
I
actually
didn't say
exactly
that.
what you just said.
No, I
You said
didn't.
that unless they are a voting constituent,
No, it's important for us to be able to
To know if they're
distinguish.
voting. Okay.
That's one of our city citizens, and we're responsible for fixing their speed limit or whatever. We're not going to do that for somebody that's in the county. We're going to refer them to the county. I understand that they can have a vested interest, which is why I've always, whenever it was discussed, been on the side of including people that are outside the city. That is not the case everywhere
My
else.
point in sharing that is that this
The
e-blast,
citizens know-
e-blast was nothing more than to try and drum up business and air the dirty laundry, as you so eloquently put it. And it doesn't matter what I say. You're not going to listen to what I have to say, and you're going to just go put out another e-blast or tell people behind the scenes. I know how you work, Leslie. I mean, if we want, y'all want transparency, here we go. I mean, this is what you do.
No, ma'am. From the time I came on city council and knocked doors, I started to create an email list. I communicated, and you were one of my constituents.
I
in
was,
Ward
and
3.
I get to see what you want me to see.
And I
You
would
control
take-
the narrative.
I would also, I'm not finished yet either, and I'm trying to
Okay,
just.
that's fair.
Okay, have an opportunity to respond. I've always communicated with my people and the people that wanted to be on my email list. And I don't run to social media. Social media is so caustic. You can't call everybody. You can't go to everybody. But you can have a personal email that goes out that's not a newsletter to that group. So it's not out on social media for everybody from Timbuktu to start giving opinion and attack other people and go after someone else. That's what happens on social media. When you do an email that people have chosen to be on, they can respond directly back to you. They can ask questions, they're concerned. They can say they disagree. They can just say, thank you for sending the agenda out. And that's usually the main thing that goes out, is here's the agenda with the items we're going to discuss in the upcoming meeting. And if there's something pertinent going on, I might mention that, or I might mention it's budget time. This is when we decide how your tax dollars are going to be spent. Anything I mention, what happened, and the reason I did an extensive multiple draft on this to send out to people is because we had so much controversy about changing the charter and the resolution and the debate over it that I could not properly explain it to them without saying how we got here. Now, some of the people there know. They know, they've been here enough years, they know that most of what I brought up in there that had to do with the previous manager and mayor was well documented in city meetings. It's on video, it's in notes, it's spoken during public comment. These are not new revelations. I am restating those for the people who either forgot or, number one, really weren't paying a close attention to that back then, but they see the current controversy. They will not understand it if they don't look at the history. What happened back then with that election and coming into office? What happened with the city manager? What policies were broken? Yes, there were serious policies, and I just watched the video again of a citizen standing at public comment who did open records, who was one of the ones that did our job better than us on exposing the numerous hiring policies that were ignored. And she did it through open records. You and I went to the HR person at that time because you led the charge on getting rid of the city manager.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
no, it's okay.
And
It's okay.
no, and the HR, I'm sorry, when the HR manager, when we went to them, actually told us, because you led the conversation, told us that that you were overstepping because the HR manager worked for the city manager,
And
did
could not do
work.
it with a direct,
That's
without a
correct,
directive.
and you were not happy with that answer.
Because we couldn't get the answers on
Okay,
who
but
had
don't
resumes.
say
Yeah.
that I went to the HR manager
we
and
went-
led the conversation. You
No.
led that conversation and were told that you had overstepped.
We went, and she left shortly after one of the controversies, but it was a very awkward position for her to be in because she did. She answered to the city manager. And I guess I would have had to do open records to get the resumes of who all applied for that job and if things occurred. But thank goodness there was a citizen who actually did do that and was able to expose a number of things that then Attorney Mecklin addressed by saying, we will move forward with following the hiring practices that are in place as we move forward after that very unfortunate, I hate to say incident, but period of months. Yes, Councilman Conte.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to chime in pertaining to the e-blast that was presented to me and sent to me with a whole bunch of language of the former mayor and city manager that did or didn't do, allegations pretty much of what they did on council. Of course, I was not here on council, so that is neither here nor there with me personally. My concern is for the citizens and my constituents in particular of the allegations continually being drummed up, where at this point, it's my understanding that the former mayor has pretty much hired legal counsel to send out notifications to a whole host of people. I believe you're included. And my concern is, how does that affect the city? That's all I care about. How does that affect the city? We are not in a position to be sued by anybody. And it's my understanding that the city was going to be held responsible for a prior lawsuit pertaining to you that was brought about, which comes to the effect of taxpayer money, my constituents' money, the city's money. That's my concern. Whatever gripe, personal innuendos, whatever you have with the former city mayor and manager, you can respectfully do that on your off time. But when you are the head of this council, the head of this city, pertaining to you being the mayor, and you're making those type of allegations, and now they're pending lawsuits, that's my concern on how that affects us, who's going to pay for whatever comes about, because it's my understanding that his legal counsel is not playing. He's had enough. And honestly, if it's a defamation of character, I would too. But I don't know what has happened and what's not, and that's here nor there for me. My concern is the money, and should the city get sued because of our current mayor and whatever allegations you have made pertaining to the former mayor, former city manager, or both, how does that affect us? The bottom line, how does that affect my constituents? How does it affect my money?
That's a legitimate concern. People can sue whether they have a case or not, and the fact is, the things mentioned in there are not new. They were brought up, they were exposed to light 2 years ago, and the only reason I don't want to relive this, the only reason I'm going over it is because it's the only thing that explains the situation we're in right now with the city charter, the resolution that the council, yes, I got a call because the other person also may have pending litigation because they're harassing a commissioner in Douglas County. And I spent 30 minutes on that phone call as well because the former mayor has gone after 2 private citizens, is now mentioning me, has also contacted, and this commissioner hasn't been doing anything. This goes back to 2 years ago. There's nothing publicly being said about any of it from this individual, and yet I received that contact about what's going on in that situation and what's happened and what their city attorney has advised them to do. It's very unfortunate. These are not new allegations. These things that were said several years ago. If somebody took issue with the truthfulness, that was the time to do it. There were public records, video, documentation. I don't know what else to say. Somebody can sue for any reason whatsoever, or they can do that just to shut you up. A lot of times you'll get an intimidating letter because somebody just wants you to be quiet.
No,
It's
I
their
get
way of
that,
saying
too.
you're not going to say anything.
Absolutely, and I get that too. And you should absolutely have the right to speak in your personal time pertaining to whomever and whatever, and deal with whatever consequence that may come with that. But my concern is when you're wearing the mayor's hat for the city of Villa Rica and you're speaking on your e-blast and you are presenting yourself not in your personal time but as the mayor of the city of Villa Rica, those actions have consequences, and the consequences affect us as the city and as constituents. And that's called a lawsuit, where we holistically have to deal with the retribution instead of you dealing with that on your personal time. Like, yes, I'm a city councilwoman. I'm also the president of the Carroll County NAACP branch, amongst other things. When I'm switching hats, I have to be cognizant of what I'm saying, who I'm saying it to, because that has consequences that affects, whether it's for my unit branch or for my city or my constituents or myself personally. So I intentionally say, whatever I'm speaking to, on whatever platform I'm speaking to, I'm speaking as Dominique Conte, the citizen, not the president of the Carroll County branch of the NAACP, not Ward 5 City Councilwoman for the city of Villa Rica or whomever else. Because I know if I don't make that distinction, it comes back on everything that I oversee as the CEO and president of, as you do as the mayor. That's my only concern, is when you're doing these e-blasts, I have my own emails for my own constituents when I ran. So I'm doing the same thing, going to communicate with my constituents, but I'm going to emphasize, if there's something personal that I want to say, it's not going to be on the e-blast to my constituents where I'm looking, and they're looking at me as, oh, this is Councilwoman Conte, Ward 5, discussing whatever. Because that's how they're going to interpret it. So what you say is law to them. What you're saying, they're looking at it, oh, this is the city manager, so, or excuse me, this is the mayor, so this is what she's saying as the mayor, so it must be true. And that's sometimes your personal opinion or whatever gripes or, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have those, because you guys had a very terrible and nasty campaign when you ran for mayor. I get that. But I don't want it spilling over into the city, where the constituents and the taxpayers have to pay for whatever is being said and done. That's my concern, and that's what's been brought to my attention that I want to address.
I
I'm
get
sorry,
when you
Matthew.
wear the different hats. Hang on. I see that hand. I get but there isn't another hat. All of this revolves around the position I'm in just when I was on council. I had no idea at that time that when I won a runoff, that all of a sudden there'd be this effort between people in their professional positions. I know what it is to deal with legalities and have all kinds of money to pay because you won a runoff, and all of a sudden these things get done at the last minute to also usher somebody else in to work on staff, all that type of thing. But it was in our professional positions. When I was on council, it wasn't Leslie McPherson, who lives over here, talking as a citizen. It was them getting the agenda from their city council person, mentioning that the budget is coming up and you want to pay attention to how, whatever the subject matter was. This topic cannot be differentiated. Now, if I were doing something related to the Lions Club or something else, it would have to be separate. I'm not the mayor there. So this cannot be separated because all the subject matter is revolving around the topic connected to the city, a resolution, the change of the charter. And the other thing I wanted people to see that I include in there, and I know it was long, was examples of what other cities have done. I know it was extensive. I know about being careful what we say verbally, because if you're up here doing a planning and zoning decision, I remember that from when I was on planning and zoning, you better be careful about what you say about how you made your decision, because legally you are bound to criteria that you have to use to decide on whether you give somebody a variance or approve a zoning or you deny it. I get that. I am very ready to back up anything I said, and it's not new. These are things that were out there, shown, proven. There are some things with opinion. There's going to be some people, sources that I could not use names for, but in a lot of cases, most of this is public and documented and been said a period of years ago. And so I don't know how else to explain that. I hope that answers some of the two-hat issue. Yes, Councilman Momtahan.
Okay, I'm just going to try to move our meeting forward this morning. But for the record,
Because we did a lot of this, but.
for the record, I haven't been on the mayor's email list since the November or the 2023 campaign. But Mayor, would you be interested or willing to provide us and provide the council in writing what you desire the language to be, so that way the council knows in writing what you're requesting and can have an up and down vote on that issue.
I will
And that
work,
really
I will
goes
work
try to
on that and talk
Address
to.
Councilman Barr's
the-
concern.
And talk to the attorneys, because I just have to honestly say this. It seemed like anything that I proposed to even be looked at, everything I got was, well, we can't do that because, well, that would be a problem. Well, that would, never did I hear anything like, well, maybe we can find a way to work on that. So I will tell you, my perception was, it honestly is,
No, you're wrong. You have never given any
No.
sort of
When I-
language as to what you want. You
when
never
I,
have.
When I even mentioned ideas such as speaking to Douglas County City Mayor.
You told us what
I'm
other
sorry,
cities
Douglasville
did,
Mayor.
Leslie. You never said what
I was
you
giving
wanted.
examples of things I wanted to
Ex-
look at and discuss, and I also sent it to our attorneys and said, I'm thinking about this.
I'm sorry,
that this
David
could-
never even understood what it was that you wanted exactly. He
That's
tried,
because I
bless him.
didn't
He
demand
tried.
anything
You're-
exactly. I
Yes,
wasn't
exactly.
demanding. I wasn't
Miss May,
saying
hey,
it
Miss
has
May,
to be this
Can
way.
you just do what Matt said and just tell us exactly what you want instead of going around the bush and bringing up stuff with them former folks that before all of this big letter came out, that as far as I know, it was just dead. I mean, wasn't nobody trying to get at nobody. I don't know what could have been said, but he has a solution, and I think, if I'm speaking to the rest of the council, if you would just do what he asked you to do, just tell us exactly what you want, then we won't have to go through all of this.
What I wanted to avoid, and we'll wrap this up, what I wanted to avoid is, I want this, and I want this, and I want this. I wanted to be more conciliatory, I guess you'd say, is I'd like us to at least look at some of these other ideas, reevaluate what our charter said, what it says now, and consider some of these other options and discuss them, rather than saying, give me this, I didn't want to come across as, give me this, give me that, and, like with a hammer, or,
You still
you
haven't
know.
answered my question. I
Say-
said, would you do
I
what
did.
he
I
said?
already said
Just
I
give us
would-
a letter. Yes, I'll write a letter, or yes, I would do. But that's what you said.
But I
now,
don't want
doesn't
it to sound demanding, like, give me this, or,
Well,
come
we
in like
said-
somebody
we said
does.
You can ask for what you want. It wouldn't be demanding. It would be just telling us
Providing
exactly what
clarity.
you want to do. Yeah, just do that. Don't worry about if you demand it. We're not asking for you. You just tell it. Just like if your child asks you something, you want to know. They want to know what exactly you want to do. So that's all we want.
And I appreciate that, Councilman Marchman, and I'll say, the only reason I didn't go further down that route is because I felt like when I did say, could we talk about this, or can we consider this, it was immediate, I understood immediate pushback, well, yeah, but that's a problem, or we can't do this, well, that wouldn't work, or what are you going to do if this happens? I didn't feel anybody kind of coming that way, like, well, maybe we can discuss that and work on that. That's
when
why.
you give us that, then we can go through that. Just
All
tell
right.
us.
Is
If
there
you
any-
just want one or two little things, just tell us what you want, and then we can go and discuss.
All right, and I think some of that got a little bit more clarified in our
Yeah.
discussion,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
And we will talk with the city attorneys.
What is that going? What is that time frame going to be? Because aren't we, Matthew, on a time crunch?
In my view, I would like this by Tuesday so we can keep this process
That's what I'm
moving forward. Unless you feel like you can't do that, Mayor, but that's what I would desire.
I'll just say this, we have just got, so I will try, we have just gotten inundated with, and myself personally, I'm not the only one, with massive open records requests that's going to take, I expect, a lot of hours to accomplish that project as well. And there has to be a communication, because you have to respond within a certain amount of time, letting them know how long you're going to take. And I also have to deal with the attorneys on that. Yes.
With all due respect, Madam Mayor, this this situation with the charter, from my understanding, has been going on for what, 2 years now or so? This needs to be a priority. It's not something, especially because of the state legislation getting ready to be out of session by, I believe, April 1st or the 2nd. So I get the open record situation. I'm not poo-pooing on that. But this needs to take priority for this council to move forward on all of the other cities' business. So it came across, at least to me, like you're putting it on the back burner and using the excuse of the open records on why it won't be ready for us to debate and vote on Tuesday. This is a whole week, because today is Tuesday of next week at the city council meeting for March, to get this done so we could do the people's business as we've been hired
Believe me,
to do.
it's not on
So-
the back burner. There's plenty of things there. I will not do that. I will
Right,
not do
so
that.
I just want to make
But I
sure
don't know
that
that
it
we
is-
can all negotiate and have everything settled. That-
Well,
but
let's
we won't
test,
know.
let's test
We
that
won't know.
theory, and we won't know until we actually get something in front of us in black and white to actually, for us to process, review, and have a discussion on. Because we are all in consensus as far as council men and women that this is a priority for us. We need something tangible so we can discuss, review, process, and be ready to vote on Tuesday. So we are committed to that with all of the other commitments we have in our lives as well. But we want to put the people's business first, and we want to move this forward so we can function and hire a permanent city manager and all the other things that we've discussed that collectively we want to do for this to get done. Because right now we're at a stalemate. So I feel like we've made some progress. Let's continue with that progress and making sure that we have by Tuesday of next week whatever things you would like for us to consider to move forward and vote on and hopefully approve unanimously to get done to present the state legislation to move forward with this charter. So I just want to put that to the forefront. This is not something that should be pushed any further back than what it has belabored at this point.
And please know, everyone has my phone number. Please, you are more than welcome. Call me at any time, talk about any of these details, even one-on-one as well, too. I know we ultimately have to decide together, but outside of a called meeting, we cannot all discuss this particular thing together. But we can also, just like citizens know, I have an open door. I don't have an office. An office is wherever I am. But they know it's an open door policy to communicate with me on any concern. So any of y'all are more than welcome to also speak to me individually and reach out to me.
Well, I think the concern, I don't want me to speak for
We
the
just
council.
can't do it together. We can't
No,
have
that's not what I
a
was going to say.
quorum.
I think the concern from my fellow colleagues at this point is we don't want anything we're saying to you to be misinterpreted or taken out of context and then presented in an email blast. So I'm just throwing it out there. So I know myself, I won't be doing that because I don't have time for them type of games. I'm a very direct person. So for me, I like to process and actually visually see what you want to present and then move forward in a respectful manner. I don't like the one-on-one because all of what I've been seeing thus far as a new council member and before that as a citizen, it bothers me a great deal.
That's fine. I get that.
I just want us just to, as Councilman Monahan said, if you could give us something in writing and for us to review and process it, and then we can move forward, hopefully in unison.
I get that. That's why sometime I'll even send something just for information to everybody. We can't reply all, just send it so that everybody hears the same story. And that's the challenge with needing to have really direct conversation with one another that isn't pretty. And we've seen at all levels, that's how representative government works. And sometimes we're passionate and we're debating and we don't agree on certain things, and then we agree on a whole vast of other things, and we've got to pull together one way or another. And anyway, okay, are we ready to move along? Councilman Barr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For me, my position is just, as Councilman Monahan said, I want to move this forward. And I just want to move this forward. I also want to see progress. And I don't think that progress is happening, within our city and what we do here as a city council. like you, I also, go to different cities and counties, and I see some of the great work that they're doing. And I'm very proud of Villa Rica, and I'm bragging on what we got and the growth and things that are here. But I just don't see us moving those things forward unless we get past this particular issue with the charter amendment. And as I'm hearing, the discussion going back and forth, I didn't realize there was a legal issue, and we still have the issue with the consulting firm, and I don't want, that to be held up because of all of these other things that's sprouting up. I think we need to tackle these things, the legal issue, the charter issue, and the consulting issue one by one, and get a resolution instead of trying to, mesh it all together and try to come up with one, fit-all solution. It's not going to work. And I would say as a suggestion, if you want to make it easy, well, let me ask you this. The amendment that was changed by the General Assembly, were you okay with that amendment as it is? If that amendment was basically still on the table, were you okay with that one?
We were not in on the conversation per se, and so it came to all of us, as far as I know, none of us knew until it was passed or being carried. I honestly don't remember that exactly. I did.
So
but
if we actually were back at that resolution, would you be okay with that one?
with what's currently on there,
That's what I'm confused about. That's why I was asking Attorney Smith earlier.
current-
Where do we stand as far as what resolution is
the current
legal?
language of the charter, just like any time we amended a charter, when we redid it and it was adopted in 2018 at the state level, but we reevaluated it, changed words, took out gas utilities that we don't do. We took out obsolete things, and then we made some very substantial changes. That was then sent to the Assembly. What is in force right now is what was amended and is the current charter language, although it's complicated, but for some reason, it's not on the website with that language, and Teresa's done her best to try to explain that to some of us that don't totally get it. Some of the amended things haven't been added yet by, I think it's Municode. The current language gives the mayor the sole authority, basically, to hire and/or dismiss a city manager. However, what they believed was balance was the ability of the council to be override it, and that has been exercised
that's
when
where
an
we currently
interim
stand?
city manager was put forth. That particular prerogative has been exercised, and that person was not put in position.
Okay, so what
Yeah.
current resolution stands at right now? Is it the General Assembly's or the one we passed last month or the month before?
Yeah, and legal can answer it, but no, the resolution we passed, it's sitting there.
Okay.
It's sitting there because it would have to be passed by them and signed by the governor to change our charter.
And definitely I understand that. So what's enforceable, Attorney Smith?
If I'm understanding your question, what is in force currently is the 2024 charter that was put in place by the General Assembly in 2023.
That's what's
No,
in-
it was put in place in
24,
24 and it
spring
became
of-
effective 25.
Okay, and so is that the resolution that you're currently happy with?
That's the charter. That's the current charter. That's the one we.
But is that what you're happy
Yes,
with?
no. Am I after that?
No.
Are you good with the 2024 charter as it is and as it stands right now?
I have some issues with the way that can be carried out and operated. I appreciate that there's some balance in it, but no, I have some issues with it. And that's why I've tried to look at various options that are
I
practice,
understand that.
just to look at ideas of,
Yep,
you know.
and that's what you do. That's what you're supposed to do, and nothing wrong with that. I will offer as a suggestion, if that's the one that you're fine with, then take that one, just redline it, and just change whatever you want it to say. And then bring that back on.
Yeah, it's very brief. It's very
Uh,
brief. The wording
yeah,
is
yeah.
brief, just like the wording before it was brief.
Yeah,
You
if
know,
you
it's
can,
like
if
this
you just
much.
redline that one, I think that would be very easy. It doesn't take much time. You can have that done by Tuesday. We can vote on it.
He
and we
knows
can
how to
move forward.
redline. I'll have somebody help me redline it. But anyway, I will be
That-
working on that.
Okay, that would be
Okay.
my recommendation, just to make it easy.
Anything else before we move on?
So this item won't be
All
on
right.
consent.
Pardon?
The Sumter agreement won't be on consent.
No, this will move on to Tuesday. Item C1, development update. It's going to be Mr. Jarvis.
I know I'm better looking than
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. I am Tracy Jarvis. Nick Griffin is in training. I'll try to do my best here with these development updates. So, on the sheet of paper that I give you, I made some notes on there. Most everything is about in the same position it was last month at the updates. Liberty Point, Phase 5, we're waiting on the bonds. Once we get the bonds, then we can do bring the final plat before council. And then if you move down to Rockmart Road, Highway 101, Crow Holdings, the building permit has been issued there. They are right now starting to form up their spread footings, and they're going forward with that project. Kona Ice, the LDP, has been issued. Down here in the third section, Twin Oaks Phase 2 is, wait a minute, sorry. Walton Phase 2, I'm sorry.
Where's the Kona Ice one? I'm sorry. Where are you? Oh, okay, so.
It's in the second section, the bottom line, on
Okay.
the second section.
I see it, okay.
Yep, so the LDP's been issued there, and then when we get down to the third, the only changes there is Gordon Street Apartments are in a redesign phase. They come into a TAC meeting the other day. We talked to them, and then Legacy Walton final phase 2 have been issued COs. South Harbor 2A was on hold for 2A were on hold for a while, but they have applied for 2 building permits. We do have a stop work order out there. They had some silt fencing that came down in the last heavy rain. We met with the golf course manager out there and the project manager. They're fixing that now, and they're going to straighten everything of that. Let's see. And then also in that section, second from the bottom, Larry Boggs on Old Tanyard has applied for a small plat revision where they had 2 lots that they wanted to realign in there to make that lot feasible. And then on the final page, the Highway 78 liquor store is in engineering. 111 Boggs Road has a grading permit. Sunbelt Asphalt, there's really no movement there. They're waiting for equipment to come in to start that project. Arpit Punkintown Road, the LDP has been issued for grading only on both of the Arpits on Punkintown. Scott Evans dealership, we're waiting on a resubmittal of their engineering plans. They have, I believe they've contracted with a new engineer, and as soon as we get that, we can move that forward project. Waffle House is complete. Liberty Logistics, we met at a TAC meeting the previous week, so that is inching forward. Fuquay apartments are going vertical on that. Waiting on the final plat for the single-family attached units there on the Fuquay development. Let's see, Ultimate Car Wash. I'm sorry.
Clarification on the one with Fuquay. If you look at the part that's up closer to the Wendy's and sits off of Mirror Lake Boulevard, that would be the apartments, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The other ones, you call single-family
Attached.
like a single-family townhome?
It is. It is.
Because
but-
we had called them townhomes, but it's the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, okay.
Yes, ma'am. And that wraps in behind the Publix.
Right,
and whatnot.
more toward the back.
Yes, ma'am.
Behind the apartments, also back of
Correct.
Publix, got that.
Yep. So we're waiting for them to final plat it before we issue permits on that. They still have a ways to go. The commercial Ultimate Car Wash retail is in design. And that is about all the updates on the. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Councilman Momtahan, are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I'm not rushing you. If you weren't done, say so. I
That
didn't
about
want
wraps
to,
it.
I didn't
That's
want to
about
go
a
to
wrap.
questions if you weren't done.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilman Momtahan.
Okay, Mr. Jarvis, so on the Fuquay commercial, it says pre-submittal. So what pre-submittal, I thought all the commercial lots were under construction or constructed by now. Or is that
So the Fuquay commercial, I believe, is what they're looking to do. No, that's right. You're correct. I'm sorry. We have not
Okay.
updated that. I will get that updated
Okay.
before the next meeting.
and then the other one I had, where did it go? I'm sorry, I had it here and I missed it now. It was, oh, yeah, it was the Fortune Parkway road construction. I mean, I've seen them out there doing work, so it says a stop work orders are in place, but is that still in place? I know they had some previous things, but.
We did get it resolved. Yes, we
Oh,
did
okay.
get it resolved. So they're able to go forward. I will get that moved off of
Okay,
that
all
too.
right.
Councilman Conte.
Good morning.
Morning.
I just want clarification. So the Waffle House that you're mentioning, that's the new one of CVS?
Yes, ma'am.
I did not know that was part of Ward 5. That's Ward 5? Because it says 5.
Well,
Is that something new?
Which one?
the Waffle House going
was
right
two.
78 West.
Yeah, that might
I don't
be
think that's mine.
that might be the
I
old
think
ward
it's
map
two.
because it used to be
Okay.
over there.
We'll get that adjusted. Too.
Okay, thank you.
And honestly,
You don't
I
want my
couldn't have
word.
answered that question
like,
for you. I'm glad somebody stepped
Sometimes
in.
we can't answer it because they'll butt up right next to one
Right,
another,
yeah.
or half the street, even on the Carroll County, Douglas County side, there's part of it in ours, Carroll County, part of it in Douglas.
Okay.
And the ward will change right in the middle of a street in some places, or from one side to the other.
And let me get one more clarification. I was aware that we had one set of townhouses for Ward 5, which I believe are the Emory Townhomes developer Starlight. But it says that we have, Rivershire Townhomes? Rockhaven is a developer. Is that correct, Ward 5 as well?
So,
Ward 5 has never been where Rivershire is.
Because I'm going to need y'all to update this.
I don't know if that is.
Rivershire is behind the old fire station.
Yes,
Yes.
back at that, some of that used to be Ward 5 though, before the redraw in
Oh,
2023.
okay, back when it took in Leathers.
But I
And
don't
it
think
got
that's accurate
confused
anymore.
between you and Danny, I remember. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
It
That's
used to
right.
be. So I think the map they're using is, they're using an
Okay,
older
can
map.
we get an updated map so I know what's going on in my
It's in my
development?
office.
Especially because I got a town hall meeting
in my
this month. I need to know the development in Ward 5.
Councilwoman,
Thank you.
Councilwoman Conte,
I'll
you're
get that
welcome.
taken care of.
You're welcome to come to Ward 2 any day to eat Waffle House.
Economic development in Ward 2.
We will grab the new map and update this before the next council meeting. Yes, and I'll get all this updated and email it to you guys too. All right.
Thank you.
Boy, phew, stressful up here. Where's Nick when you need him?
That's what happens when somebody has to be elsewhere. You have to come in and substitute.
Thank y'all very much.
But you know it. All right, that's just an update. There's no action to be taken on that one way or another. D, Human Resources, Miss Lanford.
Good morning, Tiffany Lamford, HR Director. I am presenting to you, which one do you have up first? Go Pivot. Okay, the Go Pivot is a wellness platform and vendor. We discontinued our former wellness plan through Tanner last year because I wanted to reevaluate and relaunch something new. So Go Pivot is a interactive platform on your mobile device or a website. You do activities and challenges to gain points, which you can then turn over for rewards in the matter of a gift card, merchandise. They even can do concert tickets, travel credits, or if you have an HSA, which we may have later, they can put it as a deposit into their HSA to use. So this is just a quick overview because I got their agreement today. So I still have to get it over to Nicole to review. So I will be bringing this back Tuesday night once the agreement has been reviewed and approved by legal for you guys. But I'll answer any questions on the platform if you have it.
Well, they provided a
They-
21-page document
did.
with
Yes.
some of the information.
It's a really interactive platform. It's got surveys and it'll hit on all the wellness, the health wellness, the mental wellness, financial wellness, all of the things. And it's really up to the employee. How much they engage is how many reward points they receive.
I do have some questions, only because we've had a number of these, so over the years, you kind of pick up different ideas, but
Yeah.
council, questions from council. Okay, so in case you think of any while I'm doing this, and this is not you, this is like reading their document and just coming up with, the wording they use for certain things. So, we used to give an insurance premium discount if you participated.
Correct.
So your insurance, less would come out of your paycheck to pay
Correct.
for your insurance. So this goes to more of a type of reward or prize, gift cards,
incentive-based.
whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now they mention mental well-being, you can build personal meal and exercise plans, and I guess there's some sort of app so you can go, kind of back and forth on what you want to participate in for how many points.
Correct.
Where does the accountability come in? I mean, is somebody going to have to log on to an app and, record how many steps they did? And maybe I'll bring this one up too, because it even talks about watching a video and you can get up to a certain amount of points. And when I'm really trying to get down to, because their wording, not yours, their wording is it's more engaging, it's more modern, better aligned with today's workforce. And my big question is, does it work? Now, I know we haven't done it yet, but obviously we feel like it's going to work better.
Yes.
That's what I care about, right? Are people going to be healthier?
Yeah.
And are they going to log in and I don't know, I'm picturing some of the guys that are on the street going, okay, I got to check my steps now, and
Yeah.
I need to watch that video this month, or
It
so you
does.
tell me.
It connects to all major fit-wearing watches. So it's an automatic connect on that. So it tracks your steps automatically as
Those
you're
are
doing them.
watches. Years ago, we did a thing with watches.
Yes.
Do-
So this is
Is
everything.
it those, or this is something new?
You can use your Apple Watch, a Garmin Fit Tracker, a Fitbit, the Samsung Watch. It'll connect to all of them.
So you'd need to get one if you didn't have one. If you
If you
want to
didn't already
participate,
have
my
some type of
understanding.
watch or something like that, yes.
Okay.
Or it also connects to your phone. So if you don't have a watch but you're walking and you're holding your phone, it'll still track your steps. I have spoken to City of Rome and City of Smyrna, and they both use GoPivot, and they've seen a lot of success with it. Because it's more engaging, it doesn't get stagnant. That was kind of the problem with our last wellness program, was that we were just doing the same thing over and over. We are assigned a program manager with GoPivot, and they take the time to make sure that each month is a little different. From year to year, it's a little different. The challenges are different, the engagements are different. And they really work with us. If we have an idea on a program that we want to put out or a challenge we want to put out, they'll create it for us and put it on the platform. And we'll get to decide how many points go into it. So I wouldn't say that there's accountability on our end, but it's on their end, because if they want these rewards, which can be pretty awesome, if you're getting concert tickets or travel credits or going on cruises, then they have to do the things to get the points. To get
Yeah,
there.
and I know. I think I meant more of accountability because we want to see that it's achieving the result. The result is we want everybody to be healthier.
Right.
And we want to get to that. So question about the tobacco cessation program, because I know we've had different elements of that over the years too. Do you have to quit or what? Or you just attend the program and you get points because you attended?
Yeah, you get a certificate at the end, and you would present that, and that gives you the points.
And that's where I think we'll probably want the feedback of, is this working? Because if you do that, but you're still smoking, your health isn't any better.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
I'm
not
doing
really-
2 packs instead of
it's
10.
hard-
I don't know.
It's hard to really prove that they've quit smoking unless we're sending them for
Exactly.
a nicotine test.
Yeah, I don't.
So yeah, the points are just based on them completing the course and getting their certificate.
And how do those get paid for? How do the prizes or awards?
So we pay a cent to, I'm forgetting now. It's a penny per 100 points. So we only pay based on engagement. It's written down in here somewhere.
So we pay for the prizes or gift cards.
Yes, but it's all included. So there's no additional shipping or taxes or anything like that. So we just pay based on what the engagement is, and then they handle the rest.
So is that part of what was budgeted? I
Yes.
honestly don't know the answer to that.
This comes very close to what I spent in wellness last year.
So you kind of know, well, gift cards or whatever it might be, we're
Yeah.
going to stay within a certain range or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, because this one is quite different.
Yeah. They offered us kind of their statistics. I think it's on the very last page. It's a spreadsheet. And it just lists what each activity gives in points, and then the percentage of employees they think would do it based on prior experience with other clients. So that kind of is what rounds out our cost.
That's where I would think we're wanting the incentive to kick in, because I'm going to do it whether anybody's giving me anything or not, right? Because some of us, we exercise, we do all that, go to the gym or whatever it is. Self-motivated. We want to try to get more people motivated, I would imagine, to get to our goal. So there's something where you can watch the video. There's something about Smile. I think that might be more of mental health.
That's the mental health. That's like a check-in they can do once a quarter to check in on their mental health, and they get points for that every time they do it.
Okay.
And it does give you the opportunity to formulate your own exercise plan and meal plan based on what your goals are.
All right. And I put, but you really don't, this is mainly more rhetorical. It kind of ends on page 19. What can VR expect? And I guess that's what we're going to find out. and tweak or change or whatever if it's not
Yes, this is completely
Getting
customizable by
more
us.
people
Mhm.
involved. You mentioned under D2 on the background on the cover sheet that we are consistently doing performance evaluations now.
I'm coming next. We
Oh,
are.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead. So, yeah, let's just,
So
that's
this one-
all I had because this is so different from what we've done previously.
Correct.
And I just want to see that if we're going to spend the money on our people,
Yeah.
that they, that it helps.
Yeah. And they're going to be involved, still doing the health fair, the biometrics. They're going to come out for that. They're in Powder Springs. So they're very close.
Okay.
So they're going to be on site as much as we want them to be.
I appreciate that. Thank you, because I know this is new.
Yeah.
Council, anything else? No.
I have,
Oh.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councilman.
Let's see.
Barr,
What is?
it's coming.
Did you mention? Did you mention that? What is the cost to the
It's
city on this program?
$22,000.
22,000.
$22,592.
Okay, and the incentive points that they receive, are these points redeemable through their partnerships or the strategic partnerships that they have with corporations and
Yes.
and so forth?
Yes, they
Okay.
handle all that for us with their partners or their portals with other alliances.
Have you had any feedback from other organizations that use this program? And like insurance, my thought with insurance is everybody says that insurance is good, but it's never good until you go to use it, and then you realize how good it is. So
Yeah.
if I'm participating in this program, and I redeem my points, and I go to this company, Go Pivot, and I say, hey, I want to take a flight. What is the challenges? Are there challenges? Is it easy? Is it good customer service? Is it friendly? Have those things been evaluated?
Yes, I spoke to the City of Rome and City of Smyrna. They both use this. And City of Rome, especially, I think they've had it for quite a while. They love it. They've had no issues. They say it's engaging. Their employees enjoy it. And of course, some of the bigger things, that concert tickets and the travel credits, it takes quite a bit to get up to those points. And they, of course, roll over from year to year. So
And it does roll over.
you have to keep building them up to get to some of those items that cost quite a bit more.
That's a good point you made. So it rolls over, and there's no
Yes.
expiration.
There's no
when they roll over.
expiration.
Okay.
Yep.
Are they transferable? Are they just basically?
No, they're
Okay.
just yours.
Give them to a friend. Christmas present for the family.
I know, right? Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So I will bring this back next Tuesday after we've had the contract approved by legal.
So that will not be eligible for consent agenda. Anything else before we move on to the next one? Okay, so that'll come back on Tuesday.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, D2, Leaders of Tomorrow program, leadership training.
Okay, so I spoke a little bit around budget time last year about putting in some leadership training for the department heads. Past couple of years, we focused a lot on frontline managers and middle managers. So I wanted to find something for our department heads to invest in them and strengthen their skills. So this Leaders of Tomorrow program is through a consultant through One Digital, which is our insurance broker. They've designed this 4-session plan for all of our directors, and it's going to cover a multitude of topics. But I think the most important one is session 2 in May. They're going to talk about performance evaluations, which we know we haven't done in a while. I'm launching this year, June. We plan to launch the performance evaluations to be done. So May is a perfect time for them to really learn and talk about what it's like to give a performance evaluation, to make it impactful, to make it constructive, and what to do going forward afterwards. But it's also going to talk about the generations in the workplace, retaining your top talent, and listening and communication. So this comes at a cost of about $27,000. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Council, questions? Okay, so here we go. Only been doing this for a period of years now, right? Have
Yes.
seen, I did not know, I knew we went through a phase where we weren't doing that regularly. And I thought we were back, maybe it was when Diana was here. I thought we got back on track. Okay, maybe with transitions, okay.
Yeah.
So that's critical. Thank you for addressing that.
Yeah.
It consists of 4.5-day workshop groups of 10 or 20, it looks like here.
Yes.
$500 per person per session plus $250 per assessment charge for, it looks like a total of $2,250 per person.
Correct.
So some of this will relate back. We did some top leadership training. It actually went over a period of years, but it was mainly for department heads, city manager and department heads, kind of building that core group. It sounds like from what you have here, it's going to expand out further than that. So here's my bottom line question. It needs to work, needs to be effective, right? And number two, we have had some issues with turnover where we spend this money and so I came on in 2014 on council. You're probably the fourth HR person at the top. 1, 2, 3. Yes. So we want to maintain those people too.
Yes.
So that's my concern.
Yes.
Is that I'm not against the investment. I've always been good with supporting job-specific training.
Yeah.
It's just I want to know that we get our money's worth, and then somebody's not going out the door.
Yeah.
You know,
I truly believe that
well,
we
I'm
will.
glad we did that. Now we got to do it with someone else.
Yeah,
you
I truly
know.
believe we will out of this program with our directors. It's very robust, so we're not putting them through something I feel like they've probably heard 1,000 times. I feel like they're going to get something out of each session.
And I know the retention isn't all on you. That's not,
No, I get it.
That's a whole that's
It
a
is.
whole body
Yes.
thing. Okay, that's what I had. Anything else? Anyone opposed to making this consent item number 2? Matt isn't either. Okay.
Mayor,
Yeah, yes.
can we make the proclamation a consent item as well? I don't think we made that a consent item.
We didn't. Finance Week,
Yes, ma'am.
y'all don't want to all come back? I know. Somebody has to be here no matter what. Okay, so let's do this then. So I'll back up. Item 3, B3 will be number 1.
No, 2.
Oh, I'm sorry, B.
2.
Oh, yes, B2, that'll be 1. I had it right next to Veterans Park. I'm looking at the wrong thing. All right, and B4, instead of being C1, it'll be consent 2. And then the wellness program, that has to wait. So D2 will be consent 3. The other one has to come back on Tuesday. All right. So we're good to go on that. We'll move on to E, Parks, Recreation, Leisure Services. Miss Ivy, first item, Library Advisory Board candidate. Good morning. Afternoon.
No, it's afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just looked at the clock.
Tracy Ivy, Parks and Recreation. Dr. Lynn apologizes. She had to leave a little bit early to attend a 12 o'clock meeting in Carrollton. So I'm presenting the Library Advisory Board appointment for her. She has a 7-member board. Again, it's an advisory board. She has 7 members. This would be the 6th member with 1 vacancy still remaining. She's wanting to appoint Kelly Vines to fill this vacancy. Her advisory board voted unanimously to recommend Ms. Vines to fill the vacancy. Just a little history on her. She's a graduate of Villa Rica High School, and she holds an MA in English Literature. She previously volunteered with the Atlanta Fulton County Public Library System, which is a good plus. She's expressed an interest in using her networking, outreach, fundraising, and programming experience to strengthen and expand the library's community impact. She's particularly She has expertise in ADA compliance, which obviously is very important for our library system, the library system and the Villa Rica Librarian specifically. So the recommendation by staff is to appoint Kelly Vines to the Villa Rica Library Advisory Board to fill the current vacancy.
Questions from council?
Madam Mayor, I just want to make a quick.
Councilman Barr.
Thank you, ma'am. Want to make a quick comment. Ms. Vines, I had an opportunity definitely to meet with her, and I think she will be a great asset to the library board. She's her thought process, her intelligence, and everything that she brings to the table, I think, will be a good opportunity for her to advance her interest in the city and helping the city with this work through the library system.
I was going to say, hasn't Ms. Vines also been on one of our other boards,
Planning and
zoning, and has done some volunteer work with us
She's
too?
a parent. She has a young child, so that's also a plus for serving on a library board.
Okay. Anything else from council? Anyone opposed to making this consent item number 4? All right, July 3 fireworks display. Oh, this is going to be fun. I bet you guys have to work so hard.
This
I
is
can't even
going to be a
imagine.
big one. As you guys know, we'll be celebrating our 250th birthday this year, so trying to throw in a little extras to help, the spirit of patriotism this year. So we're asking for you to approve our fireworks vendor, East Coast Pyrotechnics. They've been our fireworks provider for the last 3 years. Done a wonderful job. We have the largest show in the West Georgia area, so it's viewed by a lot of people, not just in the park. And for some of you new council members, we shoot this fireworks show off at the V-Plex, but we have way more people outside the park viewing than we do inside. So we have to have a spectacular event for that to get the reach that we want and that the city has always provided. This is the 20th annual year for that. It's our 200th birthday. It's the 250th birthday. It's just a big birthday party this year. But we did solicit RFPs, which we would because of the amount. And from time to time, the last 2 years we've only gotten one bid, so we felt like it was important to us to continue to see who else is out there, who else can provide the service. We received 2 quotes this year. I think they're very competitive, but the East Coast team came back with a better price. We also asked for a initial cost for 2026 with the option to extend it for 2 years, no more than for 3 years. And over the course of the 3-year period, they did come in low out of those 2 vendors. So the other group got good references. So in case, for some reason we're not happy this year with East Coast, which I don't believe we will be. We know that there's another company out there that showed some interest in serving the city of Villa Rica. So the charts that you have in front of you is basically what we're asking for this year. It includes the base fireworks show. It includes a tariff, which we were not expecting the tariff. We did budget a little extra money for this significant year, but we weren't expecting a tariff when we budgeted, so that's a little more than we anticipated. And then we also built in a close proximate fireworks enhancement segment. And what that is what we're all used to is the aerial firework, which is way up in the sky, go boom, This is more for close to the ground audiences. You see a lot of these shows on concert stages and in theatrical performances, so they're close to the audience, but they're not harmful. So we wanted to add a little extra in at the time we conclude the national anthem to have a little bit of patriotic spirit right there near the stage for those people that are in the park close by anticipating the start of the concerts. So that's what that extra is, and we may or may not decide to go with that in subsequent years. So we wanted to add a little something extra, so this is what we're asking you for.
It's always been so good, and I don't know, people keep saying even last year, they're like, I think this is the best year. I mean, y'all have done such excellent job putting it all together, and they've done a good job. Will they lock in? So they will lock in at those prices for...
They'll have to lock into those prices. Of course, again, we may not have the tariff, and we may not have to pay the tariff this year because of the Supreme Court reversal of the tariff. But the special effects we may or may not do next year. Everybody may like it, you know. And I realize this cost continues to climb. You know, at some point we may have to say, you know, not to exceed a certain amount because it's going to continue to climb because of inflation and just the cost for personnel. And these guys have to be certified to do what they're doing. It's very dangerous work. So,
Questions or comments from council? Councilman Conte?
Hello.
Hey.
I'm looking at this, and thank you for, or Dr. Lana, whoever presented it to us. I see the 4th of July in here, which is great, but are we not going to do anything for Juneteenth? The city? The Parks and Rec? The library? Somebody?
I have no money budgeted for that, but that doesn't mean we can't do a Juneteenth event. And I don't, you know, it's not a holiday for us. So folks will be working, you know, that day, but something for us to think about, definitely.
I'm sorry, you said it's not a holiday for who?
We don't have that day off. It's not a holiday for city employees.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that, and it doesn't mean you have to have it on the date. Are you asking for us to do it on June 19th?
That
Isn't
weekend.
Isn't that the date?
It's traditional to do it that weekend.
Okay. So we could do it.
Between that Friday and Sunday
Right.
of Juneteenth.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Jennifer just mentioned that our events manager is possibly working with the Thomas Dorsey, which is a June concert.
Does that fall at the same time by any chance?
So it may fall on the same weekend.
no, what I'm asking for specifically is that we celebrate 4th of July, which is great, for the American history of Independence Day, but Juneteenth is a federal holiday, and it's just as important as the 4th of July, and it's a federal holiday, and that should be recognized in our city, who has over 40% African Americans in it, along with 3 African American city council who's made history for this city. It should be celebrated as such and honored as such on the same level as the 4th of July. So is that something, Jennifer, we need to discuss in executive, or how do we go about putting that in the budget?
That is something we can look at. I don't think it would meet executive session, but we can have discussion about it, and then y'all come to a consensus, give us the direction, and if it requires a budget adjustment, you know, upon y'all's approval, we can make that a budget adjustment and work with Tracy and Karina regarding the event.
Okay, because I would like that on the agenda to vote on.
It might help if there's a flexibility of several days to work with. I know people look at us and we say, I call it Independence Day, right, instead of July 4th, but it also
Right.
comes in handy because Villa Rica does ours on July 3rd.
Yes.
So
Well, you
people
have
always
that
said, why do
whole
y'all do it on
weekend.
the 3rd? And there's
You have from that
there's a
Friday
backstory.
to the 19th of June, which is traditionally when it's celebrated throughout the nation. So that's 3 days or so that we have to move forward with that. So I do,
Give
just
some
I
flexibility.
want to be on the record. I do want to see that on the
Absolutely.
agenda come this Tuesday for us to vote on that as council.
So are you asking for us to do it in the form of a resolution, or are you asking for a budget amount, or?
Both. I would like to see what the budget will be for that, to see if we can make that happen this year. Because as far as I know, the last, Ms. Shirley, you've been here way longer than me. Have we ever celebrated Juneteenth? Okay, we need to,
No, I think you asked me no.
okay, thank you, yeah. I would
Done
like,
it,
I would like to, so
yeah.
to answer your question, I would like to see a budget on it for sure, presented to us next week for Tuesday, as well as anything else that is needed for it to happen and for council to approve, because time is of the essence for us to get that done, because obviously it happens before the 4th of July. So we can have a magnificent celebration of that this year going forward.
Councilman Warmoth? Oh, are you finished? I'm sorry. Councilman Conte, are you done?
Oh, yes.
Councilman Warmoth?
I'm not against adding an event, but exactly what process would need to take place prior to, because I don't want to amend the budget to include an event for, let's say, just hypothetically speaking, 60 grand, and that's not even close to what we need, or the opposite of that, 5,000, and that's not even close to what would be needed to do. So what would the process be in order to decide what would be done? Who's going to do that? How much is going to be needed? Obviously, you would have to have multiple quotes together, things like that. So, I mean, it's a process. It's not just something we can vote on next Tuesday.
But my question is why we can't use what we've already outlined for the 4th of July as a blueprint, if you will, since this would be the first year for Juneteenth to be celebrated in our city as the budget. Because I agree with you, Councilwoman Wormuth, we don't want to shortchange it at all. But since we have a blueprint already that we've traditionally done every year with the celebration of 4th of July, why not use that as the base? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
So you're asking for $50,000 for?
No.
I mean, because
what I'm saying is using that as a base blueprint, so we're not starting from scratch. You get what I'm saying, Jennifer?
Yeah, I would probably need to involve Tracy, Ivy, and Karina in the whole logistics of an event if we want it comparative to the July 3rd event. With this being a long-standing event, I'm not quite sure how it started and how it's grown, so this would definitely be something that Karina, our events manager, would need to
And you got the
help.
Bossy Festival coming in last of June.
Right. She had, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but we had talked about the different things, and she had talked about one of the things that she was going to be speaking, or maybe she has already, I'm not sure, on the Thomas Dorsey, because I think she's part of that board, or I don't know if she's on the board, but she
Yeah,
definitely
she's part of the board.
helps with the event and everything. She talked about combining the two events as a possibility to have it like a whole celebration of the Thomas Dorsey and the Juneteenth. She was just going to throw that out there just to see, because it's two events in June, do something that's bigger for the two. But I don't know if, like I said, if she's presented that to the board, but that was just when we were talking about events and different things within the city, that was one thing that she had brought up.
Are you aware of that, Councilwoman Marchman?
No, she wasn't at our last board meeting, so that was probably one of the things she was gonna bring up, but she was not there because of some problem with her mother. So she didn't come, so we haven't discussed it as a board.
Okay.
But I mean, if we could do it collectively, I don't think that'd be a problem.
Because my thing, I just wanted to make sure the historical fact is not lost in translation. Because there are people that are not aware that, Juneteenth is African Americans' 4th of July, specifically. So it's of importance for us to celebrate that as we would 4th of July for our country. So I know this is short notice. I get that and I take that in consideration, but I don't want it to be mushed in or collaborated with another event that just so happens to be celebratory on that same month. Specifically, that timeline that I mentioned of June 19th and that weekend, that's the importance of the celebratory acknowledgement of slave and African Americans being freed to actually celebrate and have their independence. So however we could make that work, I'm more than willing to be flex with that because there is a process. I get that. That's why I'm suggesting instead of reinventing a wheel on short notice, we utilize what we already have as blueprints to try to incorporate that and do the best we can for this year and then going forward, obviously bigger, better, and what have you.
Yeah, understood. We can work with Karina.
Yeah, so just to give you a little background too of what this footprint looks like more than just this.
Okay.
We have vendors that we start soliciting like today. So we need a location. We need to make sure we have police support because we saturate the police department on this day. We saturate our public works department on this day. It's a very long day. Our parks and recreation department is saturated on this day. So just want you to know the background and
Absolutely.
the footprint, what it really is. It's not just we shoot fireworks.
Right.
So, and I don't want to just throw something on the wall. I hope it sticks, and then be scrutinized for not planning appropriately and those things. So I want us to
Understood.
move cautiously as we
Yes.
go through this process, with the total understanding that we should, pay some attention to all holidays.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, y'all put your heads together because you have a lot better idea of what it would take. I know we did remove one item from this year that we were going to do for the first time, right? But we had a lot going on, and it would have been the first time. And so, again, that was the New Year's Eve thing, right? Wasn't going to be big and pizzazzy, but it takes time. So it wasn't a big deal to remove it in that case because it didn't exist. And that's just because y'all had a lot with the 200th and the 250th, but y'all know better and can give us feedback of what can be done or what can be, whatever.
So we can ask for a dollar amount Tuesday, without any specifics in what we're planning on doing, because
Okay.
we don't know what those are.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank
Just
you.
want to make sure you're not expecting a whole
No.
layout of what we're going to do. 'Cause
Absolutely
I
not.
I couldn't begin to tell you between now and Tuesday what we're going to do.
Understood. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just want to make sure.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Anything else on July 3?
Well, so hang on, going back to this, because if we're going to talk about or approve a money amount on next Tuesday, you said that you wouldn't have specifics laid out. Like, can you give me an idea? Because before I'm okay with moving forward with amending the budget, and again, I'm not saying not to. I'm just saying, will there be some sort of idea as to what this event will be, like what will take place with it?
We can, we can do some research over the next few days with other communities to see what they've done in their celebratory Juneteenth activities and give you some ideas. But in terms of us reaching out for musicians and confirming those, it's not going to happen between now and Tuesday.
Right, and I completely understand that. That makes me feel a little better, because what I'm looking for is just a general idea
Right.
of what would take place with this money.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to look for. Is it doesn't have to be exact, but just a rough idea of what events are going to happen during this, rough idea of a cost for whatever it is that your plan is, before I would be comfortable approving. And that would be for any event, just for the record. But
And let me say, as far as the combining, the Juneteenth and the Thomas Dorsey, that was not one to overshadow the other. That was actually, my opinion, was as a compliment. Like, you already have, musicians, gospel choirs come, and let's enhance that event to cover and enhance, not so much replace
Thomas
or
Dorsey is
overshadow.
a well-known, famous
Right.
composer, both in gospel music as well as jazz.
But again,
And-
that was just a suggestion by Karina
Yeah.
being our events manager, and that was not something that the city was just going to do without the blessings from the Thomas Dorsey board or anything. But it was like, how can we make Juneteenth celebrated as well as enhance the Thomas Dorsey and combine them together to do something bigger and better?
Right. I totally get that, and thank you for that clarification. And in theory, that sounds great, but I just want us to wrap our minds around the fact that Juneteenth is equivalent to 4th of July. So that's where I want us in the future to put that as far as categorizing it.
Anyone opposed to making the fireworks E2 consent item number 5? All right. Police, school zone flashing beacons. Chief, you doing this one? Or no? That's whose name they put on here.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Eddie Thompson, Administrative Captain, Billerica PD. Several months ago, I believe the mayor, as well as some of the other council, expressed some interest in getting some flashing beacon lights, warning beacon lights for the school zones. Okay, well, after many phone calls and meetings, Sergeant Landrum was able to get quotes from 3 different companies on moving forward with this project. So what y'all have before you is the company and the quote we are recommending the city approve, so we can move forward with this project. Now, this quote y'all have before you, Mr. Teal's not here, but he has reviewed this quote and is on board with this. And this would put flashing beacon lights in the 3 school zones, Mirror Lake Elementary, Villa Rica High School, and Villa Rica Elementary. And they would operate 1 hour before school starts and 1 hour after school is dismissed to show the public when they should slow down.
Questions or comments from council? Councilman Warmoth?
For the record, Glanton Heinzman already has
Yes.
these lights
Yes.
in place.
Yes.
So
They do.
that one is taken care of. So will the tickets be issued only when those lights are flashing?
No.
So the ticket,
basically what the school zone speed cameras do is they operate the entire time the school is in session. So an hour before school starts, the speed is reduced by 10 miles an hour. An hour after school dismisses, it is reduced down to that 10 miles an hour again. So these lights would flash during those hours to alert the motorists that, along with signs saying slow down to this speed when these lights are flashing. But then in between those 2 hours, the speed limit goes back up to the normal speed. However, the school zone cameras are still operating at that time.
so tickets would still be issued, but that would be under the higher speed.
Yes, ma'am.
So the reduced speed, because there seems to be a lot of confusion among citizens with this. The reduced speed in the school zone is an hour before school and an hour after school. In between school time, it is normal speed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Only saying that for the record because I've had lots and lots of
Yes.
questions regarding what the speed is and when it's reduced.
So hopefully these flashing beacon lights will help clear some of that up.
But tickets can still be issued. I want this to be clear for the public.
Yes.
I don't mean to continue to be repetitive here.
Right.
Just want to make sure that tickets can still be issued throughout the entire, always, right?
School day. No.
Only when school is in session. Okay. Only when school is in session,
Yes. The
Those-
entire time.
the entire time.
Yes.
But it's only reduced for the hour before and hour after.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Well, what about the speed limit when they're not beacon? I mean, they fly up and down Thomas Dorsey just like they're on the freeway. And I mean, they got the
Well,
signs out there that tell them what the speed limit is.
Yeah.
But it's just like they got those signs out there that said do not block driveway. They ignore all of that. He got on me about that, y'all. That's when I pointed at him. Because I said, this don't make sense. I mean,
Well, we don't have school zone speed cameras on
Yeah,
at,
I know y'all don't.
Glanton High School.
Right.
We only have it at Mirror Lake and Villa Rica High School. So those speed limits can be enforced by the Villa Rica Police Department 24/7.
And they may need a speed hump or two over there, because I remember the complaints, and that sidewalk is right on the road. It's,
Yes.
and I've seen a few, and I'm not over there as much as you are, but I remember seeing some of them. They probably need some sort of traffic calming over there.
But Mayor, if I may, I believe that we had done the
Stop sign?
speed study and it did not qualify right in that area. It had qualified right at Eleanor Walk. We'd had this whole big discussion with that. It had qualified for a stop sign is what the discussion was about. And then wherever it was a little further up, I don't remember the name of the road, but that's where the other stop sign was installed. I don't believe.
Right there by the Presbyterian
Do you
Church.
remember anything about that? With the speed study, if it qualified? It did not.
But in some ways, it doesn't matter. When it comes to the governing body, if you read the results and you can see the details of like how many cars are speeding, the governing body can decide, in their opinion, that is significant enough that many cars are speeding, even though it didn't fit a certain criteria, and can ask for it. You know,
No,
don't have
I
to.
understand, but wasn't there some pushback with speed bumps? Am I recalling that right? I mean, and then the other thing is that the cars are lined up. Miss Cecilia Brown the principal over at Glanton shared this with me just last week, was that cars are lining up at 11:30 in the morning to pick up their child at 2:30 in the afternoon. So, with that being said, the line is backed up. There is no speeding during school hours.
Wow.
Yeah, they
So-
got a line
Somebody
going
needs some
down the
volunteer
walk
work
and a
or-
Well, I
some
did
extra-
mention that hey, parents go inside and volunteer and read a book or help clean up or whatever. But so I believe maybe we can look back at that and see. Chief is up here to fill us in with the speed study part, I think.
So the speed study, Michael Manser, police chief, I don't know if I'm supposed to do that. Anyway, the speed study was done by or completed by the camera people. They do the study to see if it generates enough violations to have a camera in that location. So the two locations that did not qualify were Glanton Heinzman and Billerica Elementary, because there's not enough violations that they felt like the cameras would do, you know, what they need to do there. So they decided not to have that. Also, as far as the flashing lights, and I hadn't talked to them about this, but if you want the flashing lights on all the time when school's in, I don't, you know, that's up to y'all. I mean, we can do whatever you want us to do on this. I mean, we want to make sure you guys are comfortable with the cameras. You know, we brought it up. It was voted on. It was voted 5-0 to have the cameras. We'll do whatever you guys want to do to make you feel like it's you know, enforced properly, and that the public knows that those cameras are there and all. So
If you're running them.
we're fine.
If you're running them all the time, it would, and it's at the normal speed, you get a citation if you're 10 miles above that or whatever. It doesn't make sense to me that we'd run them all the time unless we're going to do that all over the city, because
I mean,
everything else is at its normal speed. My problem with the cameras in general, that's why we have legislation at the state level, I don't know probably whether it'll be a priority, is the fact that the presentation we received back with these original cameras was about keeping kids safe, but they're running the cameras because the companies are not in this about they're a company, they're a profit-making company, they are not our PD. They run all during that time, but they were sold to us as keeping kids safe. Well, what does it have to do with ticketing people all through the day that comes from a system outside of us? It's not one of our officers. When the kids are in the classroom all during those hours, that is strictly, in my opinion, that's about revenue. And the complaint that I keep seeing and getting, not just here locally, it's happened all over state, is that people are so confused by how to appeal these things, what to do, taking a day off work to try to appeal it, because they're not dealing with an officer. They're dealing with a company that sends it in the mail that's somewhere else. And there's just so much controversy about them. And of course, they have to be calibrated. It's complicated. But there's numerous articles, if you research it, just in the state of Georgia. My problem is with them running all day long, period, when we were told it was about keeping kids safe, which is that time they're coming into school and the time they're leaving.
But in you saying that, and I respect what you're saying there, but the whole thing is getting people to slow down. And I can tell you from experience, when I go through on 61, which I do every day both ways, in a city car, I slow down. And that's what we're after. We're after people to slow down. Doesn't matter what time of day or if they're in school, they're in classroom, not in classroom. The main objective here is to slow people down.
But that would
and
be
they
for
work.
Chief, that would
they
be for every
definitely work.
street in the city. That would be Dogwood. That would be everywhere we want people to go the speed limit. It'd be every street. I am absolutely convinced those companies, they're in this for the revenue, and they bring in an awful
they're a
lot.
for-profit company. That makes
And
sense.
government's bringing in a lot of money too. Often, but it's the appeal it's just so hard not having the officer. There's no due process. There's no officer going.
Can I expand on that just a minute?
Yeah, let me just finish that one sentence. There's no officer going, okay, lady, I know you're rushing. I'm gonna give you a warning this time, but none of that happens with these cameras. It's just ding, 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 ding. And I do hope they're being calibrated correctly and everything. But anyway, yes, sir.
There is an appeal process. If, when you get the citation, you tell Blue Line that you want a hearing in court, they will schedule the hearing in municipal court, City of Villa Rica, and the judge will hear your case. And yes, the officer presents what was presented to them, which is a photo of the car with the tag number and the speed. And that's all presented in court to the judge, and then he rules.
And I do know it's civil. It doesn't put points in your thing, but
Right.
it can be someone else in your car too, but you're the one who will get the citation. I'll be right there. It was Councilman Mumdahan first, and we'll go to the left.
Just a clarification, because every time we talk about these cameras, I hear something a little bit different. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a scenario. It's 11 o'clock at night. There's clearly no kids in school. It's not a school time. It's a Saturday, Sunday, no kids in school. Are the cameras running?
No, they are not.
Okay. So the cameras only run during school hours, but the lowered school speed limit is only enforced an hour before, an hour after school. Is that right? So if it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon, when all the kids are in school and nobody's being released, the cameras are running at whatever the normal speed is. And so if let's just say for argument that's 35 miles an hour, and if you're going 50, you're getting a ticket because you're going 50 and not at 25, but at 35. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. Thank you very much. That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Councilman Warmoth.
Okay, first off, someone is reviewing this, correct? Like when tickets come in.
Yes.
Because I want to go ahead and point that out. This is not just the camera says that you're doing this speed, and so you're issued a ticket. The any of those tickets that come in, an actual person with VRPD is reviewing these tickets, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so someone is reviewing these tickets, so it's not just, boom, you get a ticket. The other point I'd like to make is that while I understand your point about kids they're in class, they're not outside of the school. That's not always the case. Like with Villa Rica High School, those kids, my daughter doesn't have to be there until 12:30. So she's coming in at that time. Some of the kids leave early. So it's not always just because these are the hours that school is in that all of the kids are in school. So I can see where it becomes important to make sure that people are slowing down while the kids are in school throughout the entire day. I would like to see the lights flashing when that speed is reduced for transparency's sake. That was why I was pushing for the flashing lights to begin with, is just, hey, reminder, because we all, especially in the mornings, we're driving and just not necessarily paying attention, sorry. But just that reminder of reduced speed for transparency's sake.
And it does have the effect, I'd agree, it's hard to miss. Those lights are flashing, have the goal of slowing people down. Councilman Barr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Has it been, I guess, studied or discussed? What if, and I'm just going to speak about as far as Mirror Lake, just reducing the speed down to whatever you want it to be, that safe speed, and only just flashing those lights during the time that the school's in session. And so basically, you don't have to, as a citizen, I don't have to worry about what the speed limit is during those times. I just know it's always 25 miles per hour. But when that light is flashing, that tells me that that camera is on, and that light flashes from 8 to 3 or whatever that time that school. Is that an option as well?
Yes, we would have the ability to run the flashing beacons for whatever time we want to set them to. So we could have them flash just the hour before school starts and the hour after school gets out, or we could have them set to flash throughout the entire
Flash
day.
the whole
That's
day.
correct. And also, so the posted speeds and reduction of speeds and the times are already posted in every school zone, so they are visually already there. This would just be an enhancement to say, hey, we're within that time zone, that time period, and the speed is reduced.
And that's exactly what I was asking. So, but can you just reduce the speed? Is it a problem why we won't just reduce the speed during
I
the
don't think I
time of school?
understand your question.
So if it's 25, let's just say it's 30, any other time, and then an hour before and an hour after it's 25, then it flashes. Can we just reduce the speed to 25 throughout the whole time? Is there a reason why not to do that?
You mean reduce the speed on Connors Road to 25 all
Yes.
the time?
Yes.
That would be something that we could bring. I mean, it would be a resolution and something you all would have to agree with.
Okay.
That could be complicated. It's a long road.
Yeah, that's
If you
one
change
of
the
those
speed
that
on
you
that
start
road.
messing with the radar license and things like that. If we just randomly reduce speeds, it can't be enforced, unless it's a school zone. 25 can't be enforced unless it's a school zone. So that limits us, and that can take away from our whole radar license and
So this
licensing.
actually
So-
regulates the entire road? I thought it was just the school zone, just from this point to this point. That's all I was,
Yeah,
referring to.
During the school zone, in the school zone, it is enforceable as a school zone while school's in.
Okay.
But if school's not in, we can't enforce it as a school zone.
Okay, yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. So what is it? Let's just make this clear. What is it now at Mirror Lake? What is the speed limit? Do you know?
I think it's 35
Okay.
regular.
So it's
But
35
yes.
regular, and then during
And
school
that's the
hours.
state sets that. So I
Okay,
want everybody
okay.
to understand, the state
Okay.
sets the speed limit based on their studies that they do.
Okay.
So
okay.
when we call them and say we want to be on the radar license with a new road, like the new bypass is what we're working on now,
Mm-hmm.
the state comes and does studies to determine what the, what's the term I'm trying to think of, the 85th percentile of that road is, and then they base the speed off of that. We don't have a say in that. If we
Okay.
go and change the speed as a city, then we completely go against that radar license, and we can no longer enforce traffic.
That's what I was asking.
Okay.
Do we have the authority to just make it 25, throughout
Not without
throughout the time?
consequences, yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay,
Okay.
yeah. But we still can just have the light flash through the whole time?
That's up to you guys.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Is that all the questions for us? Okay, thank you.
All right, anyone opposed to making this consent item number 6? All right, that'll be C6. We'll move on to community development. Ms. Cox? And let's see, this first one doesn't require a public hearing. Most of the others do. I think the rest do.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Whitney Cox, Licensing Specialist. The first item I have for you today is an application for an alcohol license. It's a temporary license for Georgia Food Industry Association Education Foundation. They host an annual one-day event at the Mirror Lake Golf Course. The purpose of it is to raise scholarship funds. They plan to host it on Wednesday, April the 29th, and the item does not require a public hearing, so there was no public noticing required of them. And again, this is a formality for them to get a state special events license for the one-day sales.
Did council have any questions for staff?
And do-
Councilman Barr?
Madam Pro Tem, thank you. And you said the event is at Mirror Lake Golf Club on April 29th,
Correct.
2026? Okay. And this license is for them to be able to pour throughout that time?
Beer and wine, just beer and wine.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Since this does not have a public hearing, can this go on consent?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Is anyone opposed to this becoming consent item number 7? All right.
You know I'm not gonna vote on it.
You know you're not going to vote on it, Miss Shirley. All right, item number 2.
Well, I mean, sorry. Yeah, if Miss Shirley's not going to vote, you may want to hold it off because you don't want to lose her vote
Oh, you're
on
right.
the rest of the consent agenda.
I'm sorry, you're right. So we'll leave that off of consent.
No, you can keep it on there. I'm just.
Well, if
I'm
it's
just-
consent, that would mean that you'd be voting yes
Okay.
on it.
All right.
She's
okay.
right. Thank you for pointing that out, Nicole.
Okay.
All right, item number 2.
Gonna be criticized.
You're making it difficult while I'm up here, Miss Shirley.
Okay. I'm not. I'm not. I promise you, I'm not.
Miss Whitney Cox, this one is yours as well.
Yes, ABL 0126 is an application for alcoholic beverage licensing. This one is to pour malt beverages, wine, as well as distilled spirits at a restaurant. It's an existing restaurant, La Katrina Street Tacos, located at 451 West Bankhead Highway, Suite 113. The restaurant has held a license since early last year, has held a business license rather, and the owner has decided that he wants to start to sell alcoholic beverages.
Did anyone have any questions for? Yes, Councilman Barr.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Where is this exactly located?
This is right in front of the Farmers Furniture Shopping Center, Susie's Wings. It sits on the outskirts to the right of the shopping plaza there.
Oh, it's in that little plaza?
Yep.
Okay.
Councilwoman Conte.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
So they've been in business for a year and they didn't have the liquor license. Is there a reason why they're switching it up now? Because usually, from my understanding, the restaurants, they usually try to get that liquor license within a certain time frame immediately when they're opening, like within that same 30 days of them opening, if not sooner. So what happened?
It may just be an interest in upping sales. And I may have misspoken. I believe he has 2 licenses. So he has a food truck and then he has the restaurant there. I do, though, believe that the restaurant is the newer of the 2. So sometimes the license, especially when it's all 3 distilled spirits, wine, and beer, is a little pricey for an annual fee. So some of them want to kind of get started with the business and then move forward with that at a later date.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Did item 1 get added as a consent item?
No, ma'am. Ms. Shirley was opposed to making that a consent.
Okay.
And I assume she'll probably be opposed to making this one consent as well.
Well, this one requires a hearing.
No, it does not require, oh, it does require a public hearing. I apologize, even still.
Any other questions or comments on 2 La Katrina? All right, that'll be back on Tuesday. Item 3, Junior Food Store, retail package malt beverage and wine.
Okay, so this is Junior Food Store located at 516 Dallas Highway. It's an existing convenience store / gas station. They are changing ownership of the business. The alcohol license is non-transferable. Therefore, the new owner is applying for an alcohol license to sell packaged malt beverages and wine.
Councilman Warmoth?
And this is strictly because of change of ownership?
Correct.
There was no issue with the alcohol license before that?
No.
Okay.
All right, that'll, if there's no other questions on that, that one will come back on Tuesday for a public hearing. Number 4, Villa Rica Enterprise LLC Retail Package Malt Beverage and Wine.
And this is the same as the last one. 205 Villa Rica Enterprises LLC is taking over ownership of the South Carroll Road Food Mart, or 205 South Carroll Road is the address there. The change of ownership requires a new licensee, and is to sell retail packaged malt beverage and wine.
That one has changed hands several times, but I have to say, the last owner did at least make some significant improvements.
Yes, they did,
Good,
upgrading
'cause
to
I know
their
we-
awning in the parking lot and everything.
Any questions on that? It will be back on Tuesday for a public hearing. And you will have all of them standing there to give them the sting operation thing. Because Carrollton they just did that thing with Kratom, not vaping, Kratom, about selling to minors, and they stung they got, a number of places got caught up in that. They were selling to minors.
I'll get David's speech.
But you don't have to do it till Tuesday, so we're like,
Yeah, and just same question. This was just because of change of ownership. This wasn't an issue with them selling to minors, anything
Correct.
like that. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
both
you.
renewed for 26, so the new owner is just going to basically slide in with the new one.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
No problem. Thank y'all.
thank you. Item 5, ordinance to amend Part 2 Code of Ordinances, Appendix A. Mr. Bain.
Good afternoon. John Bain, Interim Deputy City Manager, Utilities Director. This item is to amend and adopt our Code of Ordinances, Developmental Regulations, Section 200, Application and Plan Review, General Requirements pertaining to utility capacity to include water and sewer utilities, and to replace and repeal all conflicting ordinances. This does require a public hearing, so I'll keep this brief today. As we know, we brought forth to Mayor and Council some time ago an ordinance that would require for the application for water and sewer capacity before moving forward with our development team in planning and zoning on us receiving any applications for rezoning or business licenses, land disturbance permits, any of that nature. It gives the city the opportunity to look at the impact on our water and wastewater infrastructure to see if we can serve it, to see what the impact on our infrastructure would be if we did in fact serve. What we're asking for today is to adopt and amend that ordinance. The amendment includes paragraph G, as noted, as shown, as well as the guidelines necessary for when developers approach the city requesting capacity. This provides the guidelines for them to use in terms of how much we can expect them to provide for water and sewer demand and how much we can provide them. What it essentially does is put that all on the same playing field, if you will. So if we have two developers coming to us with the same project, they're both using the same numbers in terms of water and sewer demand, which helps the city calculate and determine if we can in fact serve. It also protects us from somebody potentially providing us numbers that might be lower than what would actually be used, which would cause us a conflict in the future. But again, the highlights to this ensures we have adequate capacity and conveyance to serve the project. It provides mechanisms for system improvements needed to serve the project. It provides the developer of a project advance notice whether or not we can serve the project in terms of our utility. And it provides the developer possible alternatives to be considered early in the design phase of the project. And as I mentioned, it provides for standardized calculations to be used in water and sewer demand projections. So it's the same ordinance we brought before, only with item G included, as well as the guidelines for the volumes for water and sewer use for when they complete the application process.
John, I did this last Saturday, so some of it may not be totally fresh in my mind, or I might have missed a line because there's they have to have an idea of the amount of water usage, and they have to provide that to you. So you're trying to make sure those numbers are good. Is there a cost on them? Is it onerous, or is there a way, if there's something that, say they're a new owner and they really don't have an idea, so maybe they're hiring someone that has to be able to calculate. We talked about this before, it's going to be different if it's a restaurant compared to an office, there's going to be a lot more water. And do they have any guideline to go by as far as other businesses in town that maybe operate something similar? Or do they always have to hire like a specialist or something to figure how much water they're going to use?
And over the past year that we've
Or
done
sewer,
this.
I'm sorry, water,
it's fine.
sewer.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
water and sewer both.
Yeah.
This helps us with water and sewer demand. So in the past, larger developers typically already have their engineers and they do those calculations and provide it to the city. However, you get a smaller business, someone who's opening up their business for the first time, they really don't have, and completely understandable, they may not have the ability to calculate what their typical demand would be. What this does is provide them those guidelines. So I had a gentleman approach me a couple weeks ago about opening a small cafeteria or restaurant. This provides him, he can base it off the number of seats, the square footage of the kitchen, the number of appliances, and he can perform those calculations now and provide them to the city. What we had done in the past is we would ask him to provide us that information, then we perform the calculations for
I
him
see.
to make that determination. But we really shouldn't be, in my opinion, it's upon the applicant to provide us what they expect water and sewer demand to be. This just provides them the framework in which to do that.
Got it. Thank you. That's very helpful. I appreciate that. Questions from council? This is an ordinance change, so it'll be back for a public hearing.
Thank you.
And I won't need to ask that question again. All right, item 6, rezoning request submitted by CHI Acquisition to rezone subject property from commercial medium density C2 to industrial low density IL, sorry.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Sean Myers, Planning and Zoning Administrator. So this matter was before you last month, excuse me, where it was tabled. So before I share what new information we have, allow me just to give you a brief recap and refresh your memory on what's being requested. So the applicant, Crow Holdings, is requesting to rezone that property at Liberty and Edge Road, which is behind the Chevron gas station just south of I-20, to light industrial, to combine it with another light industrial parcel to develop a 280,000 roughly square foot logistics facility. When they were here last, the concern surrounded traffic. The item was tabled, and since that time, there's been some coordination with our engineer and their engineer to provide us with some improvements. To comment on the charge that council gave staff last time, you charged us to communicate with GDOT and get some feedback from them on this project rather. GDOT commented that though the project area is close to what would be considered their jurisdiction, it's not within their jurisdiction, and because it's a minor project or something they would consider a minor project, the roadway improvements that is, they won't be involved in permitting. So this permitting will or the city engineer's review and approval is the only review that's going to be conducted as it relates to the traffic improvements. So just to kind of orient you as to where the project is, we have a map up, and what we have here is Liberty Road. Flag indicates a project area. And if we can go to the next slide. Okay, so what we received are a revised traffic impact study. And in that revision, they analyzed the southbound left turn lane and essentially determined that that turn lane was adequate at current conditions, 2029 conditions, as well as 2029 build-out conditions. However, they did propose a restriping plan that would expand that southbound left-hand turn lane by approximately 45%. So making that lane longer, as well as increasing the length of the taper, allows more vehicles to queue and line up in that turn lane. If we go to the next visual, so this is their striping plan, or their restriping plan. And what you see in bold, dark lines, if you can point your eyes to the turn lane, the bold, dark lines would indicate the expansion of what exists. The grayish lines are what exists. So next slide, please, and we can come back. So this is existing conditions with an aerial. Can I borrow your mouse? Just a second.
I was gonna say, we need like a little pointer there.
Okay, so this is the left-hand turn lane. All right, and if we go back to this visual, same left-hand turn lane here. Existing conditions, the lane stops here with a relatively shallow taper. They're proposing to expand that turn lane down to this point with a deeper taper. So again, the turn lane would be 45% longer, and the taper also would be longer. In addition to that, they did provide a trip generation comparison just to show how various uses would impact the traffic volumes. Our city engineer has commented that these improvements are acceptable. So in addition to them repaving as they promised to do, we have set stipulations that would hold them to this restriping plan, which is number 4, as well as repaving with final approval power rested in the city engineer. And to remind you, staff did recommend approval. Planning and zoning also recommended approval with the addition of condition number 5. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Councilman Conte.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so I'm very familiar with that area because I live in that area and that's my ward. And if I'm understanding what you're saying, because what the contractor had told us, or developers had told us before this got tabled for today, was that they work with GDOT and that they had worked with GDOT to get their initial, maybe Rica, you could answer this question, that they had got the initial, or they had done initial trafficking testing, and it was going to be no problem. Am I understanding that correctly? They did some type of testing on their own, but we wanted more?
Yes, so their initial traffic study stated that there would be limited disruption to the area, limited traffic. Staff took a look at that, and that's just not the case.
Correct.
So our response and correspondence with GDOT, we didn't have information at the last meeting with Planning and Zoning, but they did respond and just say it's not our jurisdiction. You know, the city can decide what they want to do as far as traffic impact requirements. And so that's brought us back to where our in-house engineer, we've been working with him. Hey, can you provide us what this would require based on the number of trips that they anticipate having and at peak times? And typically at the zoning stage, we don't get quite this deep into the process on engineering because there's a cost associated, a high cost associated with that for the developer. But they are amenable. They've been amenable throughout the process to revise that traffic impact study to include what our city engineer has requested of them. That may still change. They may have additional things to do once the full set of engineering plans get submitted to the city.
Right, okay, because where that chevron is, it's already, as I stated the last meeting, it's already heavy traffic with the semi-trucks we have now, especially now that we've had within the last 6 months, Peach State with their own trucks and freights and what they're doing over there. So now the city is saying that, well, GDOT, it's not their jurisdiction, they're out of the game. But what we're looking at, the engineers for the city is stating that to make this plausible, we would have to do some more construction in that area.
Absolutely.
And this is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is commercial supposed to be zoning, but they're trying to get rezoning for light industrial.
There's a portion of it that is commercial. That's the portion they're wanting to rezone, but the larger piece is industrial currently.
Okay, so the large piece, they're trying to move what we already have zoned for commercial to make that light industrial with already what they already got on their lot.
Well, yes, and it's both lots are vacant currently. There's no activity on them, and they're right at that. Thank you. Right at that southeastern corner of the I-20 interstate interchange. So that bigger piece is C2, and that would be going to industrial or that I-1 designation for the city.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not supportive. I'm not in support of that. It's heavy traffic as it is there, and now you're saying that we're going to have to be encompassing and put some more construction there to even try to make this plausible for them to get this rezoning, which they're initially rezoned for that parcel for commercial.
Correct.
Okay.
The current zoning is for commercial and would not allow the proposed use at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions from council? All right, this will be back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, y'all, just a reminder on the agenda, if you'd put I think this is the only one that's missing, the presenter on the items, just so I know if it's going to be Sean or Brecca or who. Where am I? Oh, there you go. Okay, thanks. I was looking, yep, okay, thank you. I definitely missed it there.
The department is Brecca, and then the item has the presenter.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, this is the one, number 7, rezoning request submitted by Apex Nexus Investments LLC. Also rezone.
Yes, Mayor. So at the property at 974 Dallas Highway, there's a proposal to rezone from AG to C2 for the purpose of developing a convenience store with fuel pumps, so a fueling station, a gas station. This went to planning and zoning and was tabled at planning and zoning. And since it was advertised, subsequently it will need to be tabled here as well. Staff did recommend denial. Planning and zoning opted to table to give the applicant some time to revise the site plan to address staff's concerns. So we'll have this back here for you in April, and the request is that it be tabled to your April meeting.
All right, and isn't that the property that's real near the roundabout at Punkintown and Dallas?
That's
Okay,
exactly right.
okay.
It's been before you in the past.
All right, so we're tabling it, it's probably, and they're redoing things, so there's probably not a lot of purpose to ask questions, I'm assuming, at this point, because we may get something totally different. All righty, we'll go ahead and, we need to make a official statement that we're tabling this.
You can. It's
'Cause
also listed on the agenda.
We don't exactly
Yeah, you
vote.
don't-
We're-
yeah,
Okay. All right, and item 8, special exception request.
So we have a special exception from West Hills Church, and they're interested in building a brand new church campus to accommodate their growing congregation. And their subject property is down there on 61, right next to the Goodwill, just north of the Goodwill. There's a large vacant property there that they're proposing to develop as a church. They've not completed all the prerequisites for water approval, so the move will be to table them until your April meeting to allow that review process at the utilities department to be completed.
Okay, so that's the Bay Spring area, probably maybe almost next door to Kona Ice, I'm thinking. Isn't that right in that area in front?
Just north of Bay Springs,
right in
that's
that.
right.
Okay. It's going to come, it's tabled. Okay. All right.
So you will probably make the motion to table at the meeting. You just won't have to do anything today. Sorry, I felt like I wasn't very clear.
We'll take our official action will be to table it on Tuesday to April. All right, we are going to be moving into executive session at this point. Some of y'all are probably really relieved. It's been a long morning into the afternoon.
Yes.
Attorney Smith, would you read the purpose for which we are going into executive session?
Yes, we will be having a meeting to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee, as provided in Georgia Code Section 50-14-3B2, and pursuant to attorney-client privilege, and as provided by Georgia Code Section 50-14-2. 1. A meeting otherwise required to be open will be closed to the public to consult and meet with legal counsel pertaining to pending or potential litigation, settlement, claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions brought or to be brought by or against the agency or any officer or employee, or in which the agency or any officer or employee may be directly involved.
All right, I entertain a motion to move into executive session.